Welcome to Into the Weeds with Weezer, a Little Bitches podcast. A podcast where we discuss all the songs off of a Weezer album, then guess each other's favorite and least favorite song off said album. Make Believe, released May 10th, 2005, exactly 10 years after the Blue Album. They seem to have an obsession with releasing an album around this May 10th date. Maladroit was released May 14th, the Green Album was released May 15th, that kind of thing. Anyway, this album spawned the singles Beverly Hills, We Are All on Drugs, which was later altered to We Are All in Love in some versions. Perfect Situation, which was also altered from the original album release. There was like a vocal change in the chorus and some other vocals added. And This Is Such a Pity. It was produced by Rick Rubin. Considered by some to be like a comeback album or like a return to form. I think mainly it was because the songs were finally allowed to breathe compared to Green and Maladroit, where there's much more of this compact feel. Like the songs were sort of longer and more, I guess, yeah, it had room to breathe basically is the best way to put it. Rivers was doing a lot of meditation during the production of this album. The lyrical content was more direct than in the last two albums. It has a very, I apologize for everything and I love everyone vibe to it. It was a pretty polarizing album. Rolling Stone gave it 4 stars, while Pitchfork famously gave it 0.4 out of 10. On Metacritic, it has a 52 out of 100. Like Maladroit, it breaks from the 10-song pattern, this time with 12 songs. The first song on the album was a huge hit, Beverly Hills. I'll start with my own view of Beverly Hills. When I heard this song, I was super excited. I was like, oh my God, the songs are breathing again. There's like this, like, there's no urgency to finish the song. Like it was, I was really excited to hear it. I heard like bootlegs of it. There was like listening parties and stuff. And I think it took me about like 3 years to realize I was fooled.
So you were still into Weezer before this album?
I was very excited. I was very excited for it to come out because like maybe they're going to get back their mojo. That's what I was thinking.
Right. Because you felt they lost it over the last two.
Yeah, I felt like disappointed, I guess. Yeah.
What were you? Because there was like about a 3-year period between Maladroit and Make Believe.
Yeah.
And Weezer was doing nothing that entire time. What were you listening to other than Weezer? Do you remember back then?
Oh man.
Think back, man. 21, 22, 20 years old.
I listened to like some like screamo bands, some like experimental rock. You guys know On the Mighty Princes?
No.
The Red Light Sting?
No.
Probably not. Anyway, it's like a New York band and a BC band. I don't know. I listened to like Pavement. I was listening to things that were like not out. Like they had already come out like in the 90s and it was like the 2000s.
You're looking back a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Strokes were around at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
White Stripes were really big around then.
But what are you getting with this questioning?
I just was wondering because you're saying I was really excited for Weezer, and I was like, I wonder what you did to pass the time. Because the first thing that I think about when I think about this sort of era of Weezer is how long it felt like, for me anyway, between Maladroit and Make Believe.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And when are we going to hear from them again? So I was just wondering. I didn't have like a specific intent when I asked that. It just was like I was like, I wonder what Kev was listening to.
Oh, okay. No. I honestly, I mean, I think the internet was not as like sophisticated back then. I mean, at least from my household.
Yeah.
So I was not waiting around I didn't know if they're going to come back or not until I heard they were going to come back. So yeah, I was just exploring the musical landscape, as they say. Yeah.
Do you remember, because you said there was like leaks and listening parties and stuff like that. Yeah. So you remember, because I remember those too.
Yeah.
So you would have heard Beverly Hills that way the first time?
Yeah, I think I heard it through like someone's like cell phone recording.
Me too.
Yeah, okay.
I remember that.
I didn't know what to make of it, but yeah, it was very exciting to hear like a song that was like not over in like 2.5 minutes, and like it had like I don't know, I was able to breathe a little bit, and I thought like, wow, they're back again.
When you said it took you 3 years to realize that you'd been hoodwinked, when did it occur to you, and how did it occur? When did the switch flip?
I mean, I don't know when it flipped, but I was like in Toronto. I was living in Toronto with some roommates, and the album came out, and I like burnt it onto a CD, and it was like I'd play it around the house, and I played in people's cars and stuff, and like I'm like, this is great, and no one would say like this is terrible, but they're like okay, I guess it's great. Apparently, this is modern music right now. But yeah, I have no idea when it switched. It's similar to like Hash Pipe, where not that I hate Hash Pipe, I actually like Hash Pipe, but
It was your favorite Green Album song.
yeah, I know, but I mean, like, I felt fooled by it. I'm like, all right, this is Weezer now. I'm like, yeah, of course, this is a Weezer song that makes sense, but like, it's totally like not what Weezer was at the time. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How do you guys feel about the song?
I want to hear from you too. On this
Yeah,
song.
because I understand that you heard it at like at a dance in
Yeah,
like
you already-
elementary
yeah,
school.
That
Yeah.
was my Weezer origin story. That was my introduction to Weezer was hearing Beverly Hills at like a 7th grade dance. I guess that would be like 2007, 2008. So like the song had been out for a while, but it was still bumping on the radio, and so they would play it at dances. And I remember thinking, as a kid who was into like what was I into? Like post grunge bands, right? Like I was into like Seether and like
Oh, nice.
and Nirvana and stuff. And I heard Beverly Hills, and I was like, "You are all fools singing along to this song at this dance. This is so bad." And it really bummed me out. And so when I learned it was Weezer, I was like, "Weezer sucks." And I didn't get into Weezer in earnest until 2013, 2014. And at that point, I still thought Beverly Hills sucked. But I learned to like their other stuff. And it's only in the last few years that I've even listened to Make Believe in full. Like I've known Beverly Hills, of course. I've known Perfect Situation. I discovered that one when I got into Weezer initially. So I would listen to that single. But besides that, I didn't know We Are All on Drugs. I didn't know This Is Such a Pity. So every other song is new to me in the last 4 years or so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You want me to say how I feel about Beverly Hills now? Or should
I'm
we?
curious
Yeah?
to know.
Yeah, I mean, why not? This is the time. Yeah.
Okay. I've done the reverse Kev, where I like it now.
Oh, nice.
I've flipped. It's very strange to hear it on this album. I don't think it fits on the album with all the songs that come after it. It actually feels a lot different than all the other songs, which are very emotional, fairly slow. I think the closest thing that gets to it on the album is probably like We Are All on Drugs. But I've actually found that the things that annoy me about Beverly Hills, now I find them kind of charming. It is really the emblematic of me getting Stockholm syndromed by Weezer after all these years. That now I hear things that like other people say are bad, and I'm like, because they would initially strike me as bad, now I think they are like kind of cool. So
like ironically cool, or like
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But it is different than, like I wouldn't argue for the quality of Beverly Hills the same way I would argue for the quality of any song off the first two albums.
Yeah.
So it is a different sort of like. But I mean, some of the things I like about this song, I like the kind of bouncy spoken word verses.
Yeah.
And I like that they don't follow a symmetrical rhyme scheme. I think it sounds really good. Like, I think the drums and the guitars are really huge. I like that Pat does some fills in there. At the end of each phrase, boom, doom, I like that.
I like that sound.
I like that.
Sound, yeah.
I really like the talk box solo, especially in the outro.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
So it's like, I think I disliked the song initially because it was an earworm and just catchy. And sometimes when something's catchy, if it if it doesn't strike you immediately as like something you like, it makes it worse that it's catchy. And so I was like, this is a catchy song. For some reason, I don't like it. So that means I really don't like it.
It's a catchy song and I hate it.
Yeah.
I actually have to say, like, I have some like empathy or like sympathy that, like, if you like had written a song like every like your discography that was like this super huge hit, when you go on and like people think it's crappy, but like it has like everyone loves it so much, like, are you not going to consider that to be like you have to consider it, right? Like, you write the Blue Album, you write Pinkerton, and all of a sudden Beverly Hills is bigger than all those albums were. It's like, when you go forward, you have to consider that song as an important song in your discography. And like,
I think he does.
yeah, so like I never really thought about that until right now. Like, it's like it was a huge hit.
Yeah. I don't know because I've never met him, but the impression I have is that for Rivers, that is like very, 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 very important, right?
Yeah.
And that I think that he would probably, I think if you asked him, he would probably say that Beverly Hills is one of his best songs. I'm sure he would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because it was so huge, and that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, okay.
He's been pretty transparent about that since they came back with the Green Album, that he wants Weezer to be the biggest band in the world. So I think that whenever he has one of these songs that's massive, even if it's not artistically all that impressive, which I would argue Beverly Hills isn't, he still I think he that's not the only thing that I think he values.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is one of those songs where it's like, I think it did deserve to be a hit. Like, if I were to hear this on an album and not know that it's a hit, I would be like, that song should be massive. Whereas some songs you hear and you're like, why did this song catch on? But this one, I mean, Sandy is absolutely right that there's not a whole lot of complexity there. It's a very simple song, but knowing that it came from a dude who can write songs that aren't so simple kind of makes it impressive to me that he also could pull this one off.
It's kind of cool though. It's like sometimes you can listen to an album and immediately recognize there's a song on it that like should be a single, and it already like there's a Modern Baseball album. I don't know if you guys know Modern Baseball.
A little bit.
There's a song called Your Graduation.
Yeah.
I listened to the whole album and I heard that one song. I'm like, this is a great song. It should be a single. I'm like, holy shit, it is a single.
Yeah.
Like, everyone loves this song already. Like, I came late to the party, but yeah. So it's like sometimes it's undeniable. There's a song that like on an album that is like immediately everyone recognizes that it's greatness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this is one of them too. Yeah.
I have my journey with it is a little closer to yours.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Were you happy or?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great when I first heard it. Because I didn't hear like a full leak of it. I heard there was like a little 10-second clip that just had a little bit of the chorus. That's what I heard beforehand. Yeah. And I was so pumped for Make Believe to come out that I was intentionally not listening to any leaks or spoilers.
Oh,
like
you're
I
resisting. Okay.
Yeah, I resisted really effectively with that one. And I wanted to go into it totally cold. So the first time I heard Beverly Hills was when Much Music did the video premiere.
Okay.
And I can remember, I was just talking about it with my friend Joe the other day because we were in a band at the time and we were having a band practice that night. And then we like, I don't know how we knew, I guess Much Music announced it or something, that they were going to be playing the new Weezer video at like 10 o'clock that night or something.
Yeah.
So we like ended practice and like went and watched that. That was also the same night that I heard, do you guys know the song or the band Block Party? You know them?
Yeah, I love them.
That was the first, because they did, I think it was right before the Weezer video, they did the video for Banquet.
Yeah.
They played that.
Oh, okay.
And
was that a premiere for that one too?
I don't know.
Okay.
This is the first time I heard it, and I was like, holy fuck, this is crazy. Bought that album like right away. But yeah, I remember thinking it was, we watched the video, we were all big Weezer fans, we were really excited for it. The video is kind of funny and sort of, quirky. The song's catchy. I still think that the verses are probably my favorite part. They're just interesting. When I was listening to it again this time through, I was a little more favorable with it than I have been in previous times in my life, just because it actually sounds like at least Rivers is having fun. on it. Like, it's a fun track on an album that is not very fun. So
That's a good point.
So it does a good job of actually injecting some entertainment into the proceedings.
There's a lot of martyrdom.
Yeah.
Martyrdom. Like he's hating on himself the whole time.
It's wild, man.
Like, where I come from isn't all that great. My automobile is a piece of crap. My fashion sense is a little wacky. It's like, fuck me, I'm bad. I don't stand a chance. I got no class. I'm a beat down fool. He's hating himself. Just like lyrically, I'm like,
I'll probably reference this more than once while we talk about Make Believe, that my overall opinion on Make Believe changed after about 6 months with it. So like, it came out in May, and I listened to it a lot, like a lot.
So your opinion went down or up?
Down.
Okay.
And around fall of that year, like around like October, November, I started to realize that this album is not, at least in my opinion, not very much fun. And I don't need an album to be happy. That's not what I mean when I say fun, because I like plenty of albums that are dark and not particularly cheerful, and I still think that they're fun in a certain way, right? They're entertaining, and this one I don't think is very entertaining. So that's where I kind of sit with it now, and I didn't think that I could. I honestly didn't. I didn't think I could like Make Believe less. But now that I've listened to it for this conversation, I actually do like it less. I think that I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I think of the albums that we've talked about so far, this is easily the weakest one by a huge margin. And
wait, the album or the song?
The album.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, okay.
I think this is one of the. I would say that this is about a. Well, I'm not going to spoil where I would put Beverly Hills, but yeah, I mean.
It's not one of the lowest ones. That's what. I mean, you don't have to say anything.
I'm not gonna. It's.
You love the verses, at least. Yes.
In some, I would say that I'm kind of neutral on Beverly Hills. Like,
okay.
I don't have a strong reaction to it anymore. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a fairly neutral. I just have a fairly neutral opinion of it. I think it's a fairly. I've heard people like, you know, on like that Pat Finnerty thing about Weezer, like where he interviews the guy who's in the Weezer cover band.
Yeah.
And he's kind of defending Beverly Hills a bit, and he's saying like it's just a great pop song. I don't think it is a great pop song. I think that like when I think of a great pop song, I think of like Penny Lane by the Beatles, or I think of like, you know,
Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen.
I would argue that Call Me Maybe is a much better song than Beverly Hills, and a much better pop song. And I think to call Beverly Hills, this might be maybe this is a spicy take, I don't know, but I think to call it a great pop song is being too generous with it, especially when we have 50 years worth of great pop songs that actually do fit the bill. I think it's just a song that was easy for college kids to drink to, and would sound good in Disney movies. Yeah, and that's my opinion on it.
I can't disagree with you. I just want to say that the original solo I think is pretty hilarious.
The one on the album?
Bow, 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 no, no, no. Like, I think it's very funny. I can see myself partaking in that foolery, I guess. I don't know. But I thoroughly enjoy the piece of crap version of it.
Yeah. That's a great pop song.
Yeah,
That's a great pop song.
That's a modern pop song. Yeah, living in automobiles. Oh god, I love it. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's. I guess I can say it's not my favorite, but I was taken in by it when I first heard it.
Me too, for sure.
Yeah.
But when I hear it now, the word that comes to mind for me, and I believe that it's from the Pitchfork review of this, but I can't remember now. They say something about by the time, like when you hear Weezer lurch into Beverly Hills, and I'm like, that's what I think every time I hear it now. That like boom 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 boom. I'm like, it lurches. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to be. I feel like I'm starting it off on a really negative note, and I don't really want to be. I think this is a middle of the pack song for Make Believe.
Okay.
It's all right.
I'll go on to Perfect Situation unless you guys want to stop me.
I'll do it.
So this song is like I super love the the guitar solos in all of it. I think it's great soloing, and I swear to God, you know from the Green album that oh baby, that might have been a sample. I swear to God, in the opening part, at the 12-second mark, I hear that no, no, no. It's the exact same melody. He's playing it right in front of me again. He's like, it's like, I know you can hear this, Kevin. I'm going to do it for you all over again. It's one last time.
It's on every album.
Yeah,
it's an Easter egg.
He's put it somewhere. It's an Easter egg, exactly. He's put it somewhere for me. I don't like. I don't know. I really hate that they changed the lyrics, like the melody and the lyrics after the fact. Because now I don't know what to make of anything anymore.
Right, so the chorus used to have a different melody, and that's how you're used to it.
Yeah, so what happened was that they had a and then now you don't even remember how it went anymore.
It was like it was like da 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 da.
Yeah.
Da da da.
And so apparently when they played it live, the audience would sing it differently.
They would keep the descending sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, let's go back in the studio and record it the way the audience wanted it. I'm like, man, anyway, and all that at the end of the song was perfect situation. They like add that melody in at the end, but I didn't appreciate any of that. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of strong feelings about it. It's okay. I love the guitar work. I think it's really admirable to start a song like a single with a guitar solo, like meaning that there's no distinguishable like do. It's like wow, like it's moving all over the place. Like this is how they're going to start a single off. That's pretty admirable to do that. But yeah, I don't have much more to say about other than that.
What do you think about the story of the song?
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of martyrdom. Hate myself. A lot of hate. I don't know. I guess you can relate to it in some ways. It's like you're like, oh, I'm a loser. People don't like me. But I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think I don't like it.
You don't like it? Yeah.
No. I think it's too heavy-handed, and I think that I don't like his sort of possessiveness of the girl in the narrative.
Yeah, she belongs to me.
Yeah, even though like he had explored kind of similar themes of sort of like jealousy and possessiveness on Pinkerton.
Yeah,
but I think he did it a lot in a much more kind of self-aware way. Whereas on this one, to me, it just comes off as kind of like we didn't have this word back then, but it was like it's just like this is like a mad incel, like I don't like it. I think they're kind of problematic. I can remember once in around 2010 showing there's a live version of this from 2005 that is pretty good. If you look on YouTube, Rivers has like a striped sweater, like a blue and yellow striped sweater. Yeah. And he's wearing his glasses, and it's like from the Make Believe tour. And I used to love it. The moment I remember the moment I fell out of love with this song, I was hanging out with some people, and we were just kind of showing each other YouTube videos and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, in my head I was like, I'm gonna throw on that live version of Perfect Situation because it's so sick. Mm-hmm. And I threw it on, and as I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, this song is like I like the guitar work, and I like musically, I think this is a very good song, mm-hmm. right? And I feel that way about a lot of Make Believe, that musically it's pretty good, right? But lyrically is where it falls apart. But I can remember watching this with these few people that I was with, and they're people that I knew pretty well. And I remember just being completely embarrassed that I had decided to put this on, and being like, oh my god, like this is we're just hanging out here having fun, and I just put on this like mopey 4.5-minute song about this dude literally telling you what a loser he is. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I think I'm done with Perfect Situation.
That's, I think, the ultimate struggle as a Weezer fan is having to decide to like songs or decide to no longer like songs that because you would be embarrassed to show them to someone.
I mean, I can totally relate to that. Like, I actually was evaluating these albums. Like, would I ever play these in front of people that didn't know Weezer with great pride and like check the song out, man?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I like like I said, I like Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
If I found someone who had never heard that song before, and obviously it's a huge single, so would I be like the same way I am with a lot of other huge singles, like I don't know, what Smells Like Teen Spirit is the first thing that comes to mind, where it's just like a song that everyone on the planet seems to know. If I discovered that someone on the planet doesn't know Beverly Hills, would I be excited to show it to them? No, I wouldn't. I like it, but I don't think you need it. I don't think it's a great pop song. I totally agree with you. Perfect Situation. I haven't had that moment yet that you describe. I do really like Perfect Situation, particularly musically. For a lot of the reasons you guys are saying. I absolutely love the soaring, just like transcendent guitar solo melody that opens the song. And I really like the way it falls into the verse. I like the verse melody. On one of our previous album discussions, Kevin said, I think on the Blue album, but it might have been on Pinkerton, that you like that Rivers often has a melody where it's not finished quickly. Like the melody keeps going and changing. Like the melody is kind of bouncing along. As opposed to just doing like a da 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 da.
Yeah, it's like, well, Across the Sea would be a good example.
Sure, yeah. And I think this song does that in the verses. If you were to just sing the melody, I think it stretches on for a pretty long time.
Yeah, true.
And I really like that. I think the lyrics are ground that Rivers has trodden before, and he has done it more artfully. I think this sort of has the feel of like he's gonna do it one more time, and he's willing to do it one more time, but like even he's getting sick of it. You know, in the bridge, tell me there's some logic out there. I don't want to be lonely for the rest of my days on the earth. And I do really like the idea, the thesis of in a perfect situation, I let love down the drain. This idea that it shouldn't be this hard anymore. You really have nothing to complain about, and you're still messing it up. So you've got to, personal growth has to happen. And I think that's sort of what he's searching for on this album, is like he's looking for personal fulfillment that will allow him to feel good enough for himself and therefore good enough for others. And this song is sort of him initially lamenting that.
I think like we're going to discuss the motives of some other person right now. I think he's trying to say that like in a perfect situation, I led love down the drain, that like he's been given a great opportunity, and because of himself, he's fucking it up. Or maybe it's kind of like in agreement with you in a bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But like he can't. It's like his own personality is stopping him from, I guess, like, this is really bad to say, exploiting the opportunities, but like taking advantage of. That sounds bad too, taking advantage of the situation. But yeah, no,
sure, like seizing the opportunity.
That's a better way to put it. Seizing the opportunity. There you go.
He gets the pitch slow and straight.
Yeah,
and I think Hero Zero is sort of a belabored rhyme, but I think the idea that he's getting across there is a good way to describe it. To Sandy's point, the second verse about get your hands off the girl, that does reek of the same guy that he had criticized on the Blue album with like The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Like you've already made it clear 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, that you don't agree with thinking that way anymore. But it's one thing to know that you shouldn't feel a certain way anymore, and another to actually be able to not feel that way anymore. One of my favorite Boy Meets World quotes is like in the fifth in the show. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. In the fifth season of Boy Meets World, there's an episode where they go to a TV show that is called Kid Gets Acquainted with the Universe. So it's like a Boy Meets World. And the Corey character, the main character, the guy who's playing him on the show within a show, goes to the director because he's upset that they're doing the same plot that they've done a bunch of other times, and he says, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid? That's sort of what I think of with Rivers here, where it's like you've already covered this. So on one hand, it is sort of frustrating to hear it again, but on another hand, if he's being honest and reckoning with it, I kind of give him some leeway. And I really do like the tag at the end of the second verse. I can't satisfy all the needs she has, and so she starts to wonder, can you blame her? Can you blame her? Is always really stuck out to me, where he's like, part of my mind feels like this person should stay with me. She belongs to me. But the other part is like, she shouldn't stay with me. I'm kind of a sad sack of shit.
No, yeah, there's a self-awareness about it. Yeah, totally. It's like, she belongs to me, but like she starts to wander. Can you blame her? Like, it's like, yeah, it's like there's totally an understanding.
I will say that this is one that goes hard live. I've seen them play it live a few times.
Yeah,
and it's not really like again, I'm not that enthralled with it, generally speaking, but those lead guitar moments are really, really, really unbelievable live.
Yeah.
Does he play the same melodies, or does he do different stuff?
No, it's the same. It's pretty much the same, and it sounds really, really, really good. So I give it points for that. I like when they play it live.
Would you want to? This is such a pity.
Sure.
This one has an interesting history. Do you guys know about sort of how it developed as a song?
Not quite.
It started and I hope that we do an episode on these once we go through the discography. But it started as like an early album 5. Do you remember like the early album 5 demos where there was like they did those sessions with like Lullaby and like Fontana and
I mean, I've heard all this stuff before, but I don't know it very well.
So right after Maladroit, they went right into recording album 5 straight away after. Like I think they were originally gonna keep putting out albums at a very quick pace. Yeah. Right. So you can hear these things called the early album 5 demos, or EA5 is the shorthand for them in the fandom, and they were done in July 2002, for the most part, July 2002.
You actually know the exact month. That's crazy.
Yeah, and
I have notes here. You're just doing it off the top of your head.
They posted them up on Weezer.com the same way that they were posting up all the Maladroit demos.
Yeah.
And there was one among them called "She Who Is Militant."
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
It's like da 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 da. It's like pretty catchy. It's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
It sounds absolutely nothing like "This Is Such a Pity."
Yeah.
But somehow it became it.
Oh, okay.
And if you look through Rivers, like the demos that he's since posted, like from his archives or whatever, you know, that he has up on like Weezify or whatever it's called. I think you can track its progression a little more neatly. Yeah. Where you could watch this song kind of slowly turn into "This Is Such a Pity."
Okay, cool.
But the original version of it is really different. Like it's almost, I would describe it almost as like, almost a little in the same way that I would describe Dope Nose as sort of almost Southern rock sounding in a way. Okay. Just with the way the riff is, it sort of makes me think of like a I don't know, a little bit of a Southern rock kind of thing. Anyhow. This Is Such a Pity. This is one that I remember when it came out, people were really stoked on because I can remember everybody being like, "Oh, it sounds like the Cars. This is awesome."
Yeah, I was going to say like it sounds like a very 80s kind of sound. I'm going to speak badly about it. I apologize to everybody here.
I think that, I mean, look,
this
is going to be a rough conversation.
I guess there's nothing wrong with the song. It sounds like it's a band trying to play a style of music that they don't normally play. And I'll just go through everything I have to say about it really quickly here. Like it's a fine song on its own. I got no beef with it. I love the guitar solo. I think it's a really inventive guitar solo.
Brian Bell.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you wrote that one? Okay.
It's a Bell.
Okay, Bell's got some good stuff going with him. There's a part in this song where they rhyme "mad" with "bad," and I'm like, my lord. Sometimes I wonder, like, were they writing lyrics for placeholders and just like forgot to change them afterwards? Because I'm like, my God, like it happens in the Red Album too. I'm like, you gotta try harder than this. This is like high school stuff you're doing here.
And what's really funny about it, I agree with you completely. I think Make Believe has some of the laziest and worst lyrics of his career.
Yeah,
I agree.
What's really funny is that at the time, if I'm not mistaken, he was completing an English degree at Harvard. So.
He had to use up all his good words on his Harvard paper.
So I don't know. I like, as a mental health professional, I there's so many questions I want to ask Rivers Cuomo, and exploring the disconnect between his obvious academic ability and what he brings to. It's not even a mental health question. I'm just interested.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to explore exploring his obvious ability as he's an incredibly literate guy. Like we know this from some of the lyrics on the Blue Album and Pinkerton, that this is a guy who can really write a set of lyrics and do it in a way that's really can work on a lot of different levels and a lot of different layers. And what really confuses me is that he knows that can be successful because he's written songs like Say It Ain't So that have been giant hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he should be under no illusions that he has to like dumb down his lyrics in order to have mass popularity. And yet here we are.
Right, and then so you've got to think that a significant part of his desire to do that comes from not from thinking that it'll give mass popularity, but thinking that this is the most appropriate, clearest way to articulate what he's feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't know which bothers me more.
Well, it's like there's that, like Pat Finnerty discusses this on that Weezer episode, where I think he refers to Beverly Hills as like the evil cousin of El Scorcho or something like that.
Yeah, I can hear that totally. Yeah,
and he says something about like, you know, Rivers previously he was talking about Sweater Song. He was saying like, here's a song where like the lyrics, even though they're completely meaningless on the surface in terms of the verses, they sort of give you the impression of how awkward this person is who's the narrator, right? In Beverly Hills, he has to tell you literally,
Sure.
I am awkward.
Yeah.
Nobody likes me. You know what I mean? So
that's like the classic like show don't tell.
Yeah.
When you're like doing like writing and filmmaking, is that like when you actually like tell a really great story, is that like you don't tell people I am very awkward. You like display the awkwardness of the character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, that's a perfect good example. It's like,
thanks, Pat Finnerty.
And I think part of my issues with the lyrics on this album, certainly this song, because I think this is to me the first song on the album where the lyrics feel like they are bringing the song down. Is he's either telling, not showing, or he is showing in a way that is to me so uninteresting and simple that he might as well be telling. Like the whole second verse of this song, when he says, right now everything is black, that's like 9th grade English class stuff.
Yeah.
So it just sort of bums me out. And the lyrics on this song are so forward, like in the mix there, you have to listen to them. And I think his vocals sound good, but there's really nowhere to hide what the lyrics are. Whereas on Maladroit, there's such a wall of sound in the way it's recorded. Even though I can't even recall what he's saying on a lot of the songs off the top of my head, it doesn't matter all that much. Whereas on this album, it's clear that the lyrics are part of the focus of the songs.
Totally is. Yes.
And so when the lyrics are, to me, so kind of walk the line between being boneheaded and being empathetically sincere, because sometimes I think they fall on the other side of the line. Sure. But on this song, they really do. They strike me as just being like they needed a rewrite, like it's a first draft sort of thing.
Yeah, the like placeholder stuff.
Well, and so how do you feel, having just said that these lyrics need a rewrite and this feels like a first draft?
Yeah.
How do you feel knowing that the song went through probably like 6 iterations over 3 years to get to here?
Yeah, so that's what indicates to me that he was convinced that either for popularity or for, honestly, what I think is more likely, just because it's all over the album, it's not just on what would be the singles. He thinks that on this one, he needs to be as clear as possible, and that will be more emotional and get his point across. But I just think it ends up feeling trite, where it's like most of these lyrics, I feel like I've heard them from other people before.
Yeah.
Whereas part of my what I most get out of Rivers' lyrics is that he's stringing together words and sentences that I've never heard in a song before, and this album doesn't really have much of that.
I think potentially, this is just a theory, that I think Pinkerton was a very emotionally like exposing album, and then he and then it went bad, and then they did Green and Maladwa, and then they come back and they do this album. Like he's expressing his feelings again, but like the feelings he's now expressing are much more shallow.
Totally.
Like I'm not sure he's defending himself or he's just not present anymore. I can't figure out what it is exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah, it seems like he's probably feeling about as deeply as he was on Pinkerton, but he's sort of putting the way he's feeling behind a bit of a shield where it's like the lyrics on Pinkerton, you can take issue with them because they are provocative, they're a bit seedy, whereas on this album he's expressing similar feelings of like jealousy or anxiety, but he's saying them in such a common way that it's kind of hard to pick holes in them. It's hard to have a problem with them directly. The only problem you can really have is that like they are sort of shallow and cloying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because like when he says, "You think I'm a fascist pig," there's no elaboration on what that means exactly. So it's like, what do we even make of this lyric?
Yeah, I like that line because it is so specific. It sounds like something that someone like, would actually say to him probably. But you're right, there is no elaboration. Like I could hear that line on Pinkerton easily, but there would be different lines surrounding it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You think I'm a fascist pig, now everything is black.
This is one that because I did a 180 on Make Believe over the first year of its release, but when this first came out, I really liked this one.
Yeah.
As I was alluding to in the group chat, I'm actually kind of now mad at Weezer for releasing this on My Impressionable Mind, because there was a period of time where I thought most of these songs were really good.
Yeah.
And I think that led me down some unproductive paths as a young artist and a young songwriter.
I mean, funny you should admit it. I think that like this album and American Idiot by Green Day, I feel like they tainted my songwriting for like a good 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have this one like album I made, it was like 20 songs on it, and like I think both these albums influenced it, and like if I ever go back to them, I have to like rewrite them. But I think it fooled me.
Totally, dude. So as I said, like I've got all these. I spent like a year writing all these like very, very, very dour, very like humorless, joyless songs with these sort of like blockheaded lyrics with like A B rhyme schemes, because that's what my hero was doing. You know what I mean? And I was just a kid, and I didn't know any better, and it fucking sucks. So I'm now, I have this other layer now of like kind of like bitter resentment that I have with this album. Whereas before I just thought it wasn't great, but now I'm kind of like actively mad at it.
Cool, man.
But I used to like This Is Such a Pity quite a bit. I thought the chorus melody was really nice, but now I don't think that. I think it's really boring. But it used to be a song that I used to try and sing a lot, because back then it was kind of challenging me to go to that place of like those sort of G sharp, F sharp, sort of higher chesty voice kind of things.
Yeah.
So I used to try to master this one. There's a few things about it I still like when I was listening to it. I like this is one of the few songs on Make Believe where I like the production in terms of how the band sounds. Like the drums sound very dry, which I think works in this one. It's just really dry. Everything's very forward. Everything's very clean. So production wise, I think it's decent. But yeah, it's just not, man, like I hate, this is going to be like, you guys are going to be hearing the same stuff from me today, like a lot. And I really apologize about that, but like, it's just not an entertaining piece of music. Musically, it doesn't progress in any really sort of meaningful way. I don't think. It just kind of chugs along. There's no real dynamics.
Yeah.
It has that nice highlight when there's like dual guitar solo. That's pretty much the only cool part, even though it sounds a little cheesy too. And yeah, it's just it doesn't do anything. I find it really boring. So the first three tracks of Make Believe are thumbs down, overall thumbs down for me right now.
All right, cool. I'm gonna make sure
I'm
make
making
note
it
of
easy
that.
for you, but I'm not gonna have a lot of nice things to say. So I'm gonna this might actually be hard to figure out which one I like the least.
Or like the most.
Yeah.
I hate them all. I'm gonna go to Hold Me. Is it cool,
Let's
guys?
do it.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't have. I'm just gonna say my piece up front. I first heard about this song. There was a small demo that was like circulating around.
About a minute long. I remember that.
Yeah, so it was probably like the tail end of the second last chorus and a solo, and then back into the chorus.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, this is gonna be a great song." And like when I heard it, I'm like, when I heard the full song, I'm like, "All right." I'm like,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Did you hear because there was two versions of Hold Me that came out before the album.
Yeah,
There was an acoustic one that was just Rivers solo.
that wasn't that one. No, it was the other
and
one.
then there was that minute long clip.
It was the one that they had a full band.
Yeah.
There was like a guitar solo in it.
Yeah. So that's the one you heard. So I heard both. So I already knew the full song before Make Believe.
Oh, so the acoustic version was the whole thing.
The whole song.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like when I first heard it, I'm like the full version, like the full band version. I was kind of like in denial, kind of similar to Beverly Hills. I'm like, yeah, this is really great. I'm really into this. I'm like, it's me. It's not the song, it's me. But yeah, no, like I really appreciate it. I love that guitar solo. It's an amazing guitar solo. I'm like,
agreed.
I'm down with that guitar solo. Maybe it's lyrically it's kind of bothered me a little bit. Is like there's a dude in his 30s talking about being scared of the dark, like in this non-ironic way. And then like the lyrical climax is like a bridge that goes, "I am cold, hold me." And I'm like, there's like so much, like, I mean, like, come on, like, "Dear Daddy, I'll write you." Like, this is like the stuff of like real tragedy. And like, I don't know, it kind of comes off as lazy. And like, I think like the musicality was in a really good direction. I have like admiration for it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even like nonsensical lyrics would work better than these. Like I nonsense, you can kind of like interpret your own feelings about it. And like, this is just like very direct, but like direct to the point that I'm like, I'm not happy about it, I guess. Anyway, yeah, thoughts?
Do you want to go?
No, you go. Sam.
So this is again. So I knew this one before Make Believe came out because there was that Rivers demo of it. It was just him with an acoustic guitar.
What was this? Was it the same song?
Yeah.
All the lyrics same?
Exactly the same.
Okay.
From what I recall.
Yeah.
There might have been. Oh, dude, I haven't listened to it in a long time. There may have been some different lyrics in the second verse, but I don't think so. Like I think it was pretty much the same.
Okay.
This is one that I think. This is where Make Believe, in my opinion, is shining a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty good one. I also was lucky enough to hear them play it live in 2005 on the Make Believe tour, and it was epic as hell. It was really, really, really good.
Because a lot of that stuff from the album hasn't lasted, right? On the live sets.
No.
Beverly Hills, maybe they do Perfect Situation sometimes.
Yeah, but that's about it. The simplicity of the lyrics on this one has never bothered me, and I think it's because there's enough going on in the instrumental track that I think works really well.
Yeah.
That I don't really care that the lyrics are so dumb or basic. And there's actually a lyric in it that I like because and this is the first lyric on Make Believe that I like because I like alliteration, and fading further from me is nice. It sounds nice.
Yeah, that's true. I appreciate
those F's all together.
You are fading further from me.
Yeah. And there's also a really nice moment where those background oohs come in the verse. I think the backing vocals of Hold Me are one of my favorite parts of it, right? Where there's Rivers way up high going, "Oh me," and there's like, I think it sounds like maybe Brian going, "Oh me," underneath him. You know what I mean? There's just these nice counterpoints. This is one where it works for me. That moment of like, "Oh me,"
Yeah, it's a nice part.
is really nice, and then going into that solo with the feedback and the harmonies on the guitars. This is one where, bless you, Kevin. This is one where I think Make Believe is working for me. So that's my my thoughts on Hold Me.
I totally agree. You know, as much as I talked about the plain lyrics in the last song, I'll walk back on myself. I think that the plain lyrics suit this song, and it's tough for me to pin down exactly what it is. I mean, I agree with Sandy that I love what's going on musically, and so maybe it's so much that I'm able to set it aside. But also, I can't help but feel like the plain lyrics in this song that is very, it's sparse musically. Like the bones are very simple, and then little things are coming in, little bits of orchestration come in to accent the parts of the song, but really it's a very sparse structure, and so I kind of feel like the sparseness of the vocabulary works for me.
Yeah.
The delivery of them, how he's very down low, but I think he sounds sincere on this song, and so I guess I just think that these sort of lyrics fit a song that sounds like this a lot better than they do a song like This Is Such a Pity. Whereas if I were to just hear the instrumentals of This Is Such a Pity, I would love to hear a version of that song written by Rivers in like White era, you know, where he's putting a lot more details and references into his lyrics.
Yeah, okay.
But in this one, I think it works. You know, I hear that opening guitar part, and I'm like, that is a guitar part that demands someone sort of bearing their heart a little bit, and I feel like he does that on this song. And then, you know, lyrics aside, I totally agree that the way the song sounds and the little layers they add, the solo, the backup vocals, the harmonies, the way he goes up on Hold Me in the last chorus into his falsetto, and then they lengthen the song a little bit where he keeps doing that after the instruments drop out. Pat does a little Pat signature drum fill at the end of the last chorus. It really feels like the whole band is willing to execute like this portrait, this vision behind Rivers. I love the really small bass notes. A lot of it is just the root notes, but it sounds really good in the mix. So this works for me. This feels like the best execution of what I think Rivers was trying to do on this album. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of just keeps trying to do it on the other songs, and so it gets pretty grating. But if this was the only example of it, I think that album would be a lot more manageable, and people would be like, yeah, I think Hold Me is a standout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just have like one final thing to say is that I think the guitar solo is very beautiful in it. There's a little bit of like interplay going on with it.
Totally.
In the demo that I heard it also had I'm not sure if it actually had the interplay, but I love hearing in the demo I heard it and was like it remained true to the actual recording. Mm-hmm. Is it cool if we go on to Peace?
Let's do it.
All right, someone else want to start it off?
Yeah, let's I want to hear Liam. I want to hear some, we don't often get we don't often start with Liam.
All right, Liam, Peace. So, tell me now.
This coming after Hold Me sort of feels like not its evil cousin, because it's not different enough, but it sort of just feels like a worse version of Hold Me.
I'm not going to reveal much here, but in my write-up, I actually used the word cousin.
Okay. Anyway. Like the lyrics here feel like they could have been pulled from sort of any of the previous songs, certainly the last two songs, and the way that this song places emphasis on the lyrics, like coming out of each verse where the instruments drop out. In one case, he says, "You can bet I'll pay the tab," and another he says, "My poor brain is gonna pop." I just think if you're giving emphasis to lyrics like that, and if I didn't know what English was, it would sound cool. I would be like, he must be saying something really weighty and profound there, but he isn't. And so, so this song, I love the solo. I like that the choruses are each different lyrically and coming back to the refrain of "I need to find some peace," but he changes up the lyrics, which is one of my favorite songwriting techniques. And I think the whoa whoa whoas sound nice, but again, it sort of reminds me a bit too much of Hold Me coming directly after it. And if this album just had this song, I might like it a bit more, but because it comes after Hold Me, or at least because it's on the same album as Hold Me, even if they were switched, I think, in the track listing, I think I would like Hold Me more. So this one just kind of bums me out because it could be a lot greater than the sum of its parts. I mean, problems on my mind make it hard for me to think.
Was that a lyric in the song?
Yes.
Okay. My poor brain is going to pop. Okay. Sandy?
This is one for me that I when I was listening to the album again recently, I liked it more than I used to like it, maybe. I think because there's, again, for me, part of why I can look past Hold Me in terms of those really basic lyrics is because I like what's going on musically enough, right?
Okay.
That there's enough going on in the backing track and the instrumental that draws my attention, that I don't really mind that there's these really basic sort of like high school journal lyrics. And Peace is sort of like that for me. I completely agree with Liam that sort of coming after Hold Me, it's a little too similar in vibe, and that I think drags it in terms of how it feels in the context of the album.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you just listen to it, it's a pretty good tune. I think that I like these. I think at that point in Weezer history, this was the first time we'd heard acoustic guitars and electric guitars together since the Blue album.
Yeah, okay.
So I remember that was pretty interesting to me when I first heard it. I like the great big melodic jump he does in the chorus. Da 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 da, like that. I remember thinking that was really exciting at the time because that sounded like, just in terms of tone and the way the voice was being used, to me that sounded exactly like the guy who sang the Blue album. It didn't sound like Green did not sound like that guy. Maladroit didn't sound like that guy, but this sounds like that guy, right?
Yeah.
So that and then the solo, I think it probably has my favorite solo on Make Believe, where it starts off really basic and slow, but it keeps just kind of rising in intensity, and then it gets to that one part where he's really up there and he's doing those sorts of figures, just kind of dancing with it. Yeah, I think so. Like, I wouldn't say that this is like the best song on the album, but I think that there's enough going on musically that I would rate it higher than a lot of the other ones on the album.
Yeah.
There's also some nice little grooves from Pat, like in between I think some of the verses and choruses, like he's kind of doing that little bit of a shuffly thing. Yeah, I think the only and then that the choruses are different every time. I really like that too. So I think the only thing that really keeps this from being like a genuinely great Weezer song is that the lyrics are so lame, and so nondescript and so colorless. That's what I have to say about Peace.
The solo, I made notes about it too. Like I really enjoy it. I love that it rings out at the end, which is like a really rare thing. Like, it's the old days of Weezer's, like, and then the chorus goes on. I have to say that this is going to sound really weird. The opening riff that happens, like,
that one.
Yeah, I feel like it's a cousin of Crab. I just I don't know why. I just like I listen to him like a Crab cousin. Like, there's something off about it. It's like, yeah, you belong with Crab somehow. I don't know how to put it.
You belong with Crab.
That's my favorite Taylor Swift.
You belong with Crab. Yeah, no, I don't know. I honestly, like, this song kind of washes over me in like an indifference. I love the outro. That there is an outro, and there's a lot of bass work being done at it.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. I think it's great they're doing that. So like I have no hate for it. I guess I just don't I don't feel a lot about it.
Like a middle child.
Yeah, exactly. Like a middle child. I don't want you to die, but I don't care if you live either. But yeah, no, I mean, there's there's a lot of self-hating too, though. I don't have a purpose. My poor brain's gonna pop. I'm afraid of letting go. Like I mean, that's not as much of a hate, but yeah, there's a little bit of like hatred towards himself.
I used to really annoy my friend Tim because we would drive around when Make Believe came out, listening to it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about how he used to really annoy me. But the way that I don't know why he found this annoying, but whenever this song was on, I would change the lyrics to "I need to find my keys," and he seemed to think it was like he would get like kind of frustrated with me, like, "Oh man, like come on, like shut the fuck up."
Wait, were your keys missing or no?
We were in the car driving.
Your keys were in the car,
in the ignition, yeah.
So he was mad about that?
No, I not about the fact that the keys were in the ignition. I knew where they were. I just think that he thought it was a lame joke because Tim's a very funny guy, and he was like a professional like improvist for a long time. And I think his standards of humor were just higher.
Sandy, you got to do better.
Yeah, I think,
or maybe he was just a massive fan of the lyrics of Peace. So this is one of the things you don't joke about.
Yeah. Some things are really truly sacred, and the lyrics to Peace by Weezer are...
How did he used to annoy you?
Oh, that it has to do with the song "The Other Way." I'll get to it on the other way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys have make-believe history.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's deep lore.
All right, so Sandy, you're gonna start off with "We Were All on Drugs."
Yeah. Okay.
It's a lot to take in right now.
This
is that a loaded question?
Look, I can't mask it. Like this is a fucking awful song. This is a truly horrendous song. I don't like anything about it. I guess maybe if I have to pick a positive, I like the guitar line in the intro. I think that's pretty cool. And if I'm recalling my Weezer lore correctly, that's also Brian Bell.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I find the lyrics are the worst on an album with poor lyrics. These are maybe the poorest. You've probably both heard, if you spend any time on the online communities, the comparisons to like the Diarrhea song.
Oh my God! Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring it up, but I had no idea it was comparisons. I just heard it my own.
Yeah. No, you're not the only one, man. This was like
There's
well.
a support group of people. You're welcome.
Okay, so we're all familiar with the Diarrhea song, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I remember is like when you're sitting in your Chevy and you're feeling kind of heavy diarrhea, and then when you're sliding into it had to do with baseball. If you're sliding into third and you feel like you have a turd diarrhea, I'm not sure what it was.
Let's look them up. Let's do the work.
Do you know any of them?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. There's a lot of them, but like one with a Chevy, and I thought it was like a baseball one when you're sliding into something and you're feeling something diarrhea.
So.
Okay, so this is totally not my. I had no idea everyone was talking about this.
Okay, man, here you go. You ready?
Yeah.
This is on Quora.com.
When you did Genius, the lyrics of this.
When you're sliding into first and your pants begin to burst.
That's what it was. Okay.
That's diarrhea.
First, okay.
When you're sliding into two and your pants are filled with goo, that's diarrhea. When you're sliding into third and you feel a greasy turd.
That's the one I probably knew, the turd one.
Okay. It's pretty long. I don't know if we want to go through all of it.
No, forget it.
There's a lot.
Okay.
When
you're out with your friends in your new Mercedes-Benz. Yeah.
When you're running from the police and you feel that anal grease. When you're sitting in your Chevy and your pants feel heavy.
That's when I know best. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning. That one doesn't even rhyme. Okay. Yeah. So we get the picture.
Okay.
Yeah, the lyrics are horrendous. I don't like the chord progression. I find it really grating. And usually I like chromatic chord progressions that introduce notes from kind of outside the key.
Yeah.
That's usually something that I'm in favor of. I like a little bit of color, but I just don't like this particular color. Yeah, I don't think this is a great song. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. I've heard that Rick Rubin was a pretty hands-off producer, but I think that even as a hands-off producer, you've got a responsibility to the album that
to save the world.
Yeah. The one thing I do like about it is the music video, which I think is kind of surreal and sort of interesting.
Yeah.
Like the original one where it's like rivers and there's like a car crash or something like that. And
this as like a question in general is
the second one, not the original one. Anyway, go ahead.
Like the whole commentary of "we are all on drugs." I can't make heads or tails of like what is this supposed to be saying.
Well, that's what I mean, because so we're all on drugs. He's talking in the verses about how drugs are going to ruin your life and about how it's going to like do all these limits.
But wasn't he like discussing like skipping school? He didn't even talk about doing drugs in it, if I'm not mistaken. When you're out with your friends and your new Mercedes Benz and you're on drugs, you show up late for school because you think you're really cool, and you put on your headphones. Is this like a thing about doing drugs, really?
Well, I know that there was an interview that came out around the time that Make Believe was released.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that this song was about, I guess where it got its start was that Rivers was living kind of near the Strip in Hollywood or something. And he was listening to all these people driving up and down the Strip all night, partying and like going woo and all that, and that's where it came from.
Woo, yeah.
I've heard that I've heard that it started as an acoustic song and that there's an original version of this that's really different. I would be really curious to hear what that's like. He had that original bridge too that they changed, because they're on Spotify right now. The bridge is, I think it's I'm reaching for a higher plane where nothing will ever be the same or something like that. But it used to be, I want to confiscate your drugs. I don't think I can get enough. So when I first heard Make Believe, that's what it was. There's not a lot to say, and I don't want to. It really hurts me to be dragging Weezer like this, but I think this is a truly horrendous song, and I think even when I was a fan of Make Believe, I thought this was a shitty song, and and I think that this is the worst song up until this point in their career that Weezer has put out.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the first true. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? What's going on in this band? Why is this a single?
Why is this a single is a good question.
This was the first sign of real trouble on the good ship Weezer.
Liam, what are your thoughts on it?
I love it. No.
I
wish that I did, because that would make for a good podcast.
Top 5 songs of all time. Not even Weezer in general.
No, to me, this totally strikes me as a song that was an idea that they pursued. Sometimes you have an idea for a song, you give it a go, whether it's a lyrical idea or a melodic idea, or this, you can have any sort of thing that's a little kernel of, okay, we've got to explore this. Maybe it'll make a great song, or it'll lead somewhere else from where it started. And this is just one of those things where like they did that, and it led to this place, and someone should have pulled the ripcord, and it didn't happen. Sometimes you just try an idea, it doesn't work, that's okay, but those ideas should not end up on a widely released album.
And it's your comeback album after like a 3-year break. Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons I don't like this song. Sandy covered a lot of them. What I really want to stress is that the lyrics of this song, whether or not he's literally talking about the dangers of drugs, or it's just a metaphor for like being in your own head or finding something you love.
That's what I couldn't figure out exactly. Yeah. What was the point of the story?
It could be. Whether or not that's the case, I think it's not interesting. Either way you look at it, because there's not enough on the page.
Yeah.
I think it's more easy to read it as literally being on drugs, in which case it's not talking about that in any profound way. And then if you think of it as a metaphor for just being in your own head and finding something you're into, it also doesn't have any meat on the bone. And I think the thing that's most damning is what you said at the beginning of the pod, Kev. You said that when this was a single, a radio edit was "We Are All in Love." They say "We Are All on Drugs." It must be upwards of 20 times in this song. So I find it unfathomable that you are willing to change the main thesis, the main point of your song to something else, because that should alter all the lyrics. That shouldn't be possible. And if you're willing to do it, that means that all the lyrics are meaningless.
I'm totally gonna say that like if you're just willing to change like the most repeated part of your song. I'm just repeating what you're saying now, but it's literally means that like you're willing to like you're not in it to give a message. You're in it to just to bend to like. I think I imagine the record labels or somebody said like you can't say we are all on drugs, and they're like, well, how about we are on love? It's like sounds good. Go in the studio, and they're like, yes, great, let's do it.
If I recall correctly, I think, and this is a little hazy, but I think it was an MTV protest. Like I think MTV was like, and it might not have even been like the real. It might have been like MTV Europe or something like that. I can't remember, but I think it was like they were having trouble getting the video played. Yeah.
But what did you say?
Well, it's just even I guess that sort of lends value to the theory that maybe it is a metaphor, and he's basically saying we are all in love the whole time. You know, like maybe it isn't about drugs and it's about being in love with something, just having some sort of hobby. And so if this is like a revelation, I should be able to then read the lyrics as we are all in love and have some depth come out of the lyrics. And either way you read it, to me it seems equally as banal.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we say we are all on drugs, it means like you're like fooling yourself into believing something that's not real. But when you start saying we are all in love, there's much more of a sincerity to that line. Like we are all in love. Like anyway, I just think like drugs and love have, what do you call those two circles that meet?
Venn diagram.
But in this case, like saying we are all on drugs, we are in love are not the same things. Those are very different things. Like I was going to say that like I totally agree that the opening solo, I was like, man, this is great. Like this is like something that like I would be involved with. I would love to write this kind of like opening thing. And then like I don't think they couldn't handle. Was it a Brian Bell opening?
I don't know if he wrote the underlying chords or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think the lore is that he wrote that lead part.
Yeah, and it was like it opens with this song that like Weezer would never play. And then it's like they're just trying to force Weezer to play this song now. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't like it. And the guitar solo, I like a lot of the guitar solos on this album. And this one was like, I'm not happy about this one.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not for me. But anyway,
I like the way he says,
yeah, a little bit of attitude.
Yeah, a little bit of maladroit in there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think his vocals on this song don't convey much that strikes me. And particularly the backing vocals of this song really grate on me.
The woo or the woos?
Woo.
Yeah.
I've never heard a more lifeless woo in my life. And maybe that's the point. Maybe they're so drugged out that's the way it's coming out. But yeah. And the guitar part behind the chorus, I think it's really grating. It kind of feels like jock rocky. This song feels like the most like the Red album to me. Like it reminds me of Troublemaker and Everybody Get Dangerous.
I say Everybody Get Dangerous, definitely.
Sort of attitude, but I don't think it has the lyrical charm or enough of the attitude in the vocals to even be on par with those songs.
I would also say that those two songs, Troublemaker and Everybody Get Dangerous, I wouldn't call either of those my favorite Weezer songs, but they're fun. They sound fun when you listen to them. Well, that was the big difference, and I won't spoil. We'll get to this in a bit, but this was the big difference between these two albums for me that I didn't really realize until we sat down to kind of do Make Believe and Red.
It's like a very depressing album. It's not fun at all.
This is a joyless album. There is no joy on this fucking thing at all.
Yeah.
Whereas Red, it sounds like Rivers sounds excited on every song. It sounds like the band is you can hear there's more energy in the way that they're playing it. There's more attention to detail in the production. It's just everything sounds better and more fun and more entertaining. They're giving you more. This song is a fucking embarrassment. It really is an absolute tragedy. It should have never been released. I hope that the people who were responsible for this song being released, Rivers, Rick Rubin, all of Weezer's A&R structure and record company, I hope that I don't know, because I don't know about these like corporate major label types. I don't know if they do self-reflect, but I hope that someone self-reflected on this fucking thing, because it should have never ever seen the light of day. It's a fucking awful song.
Man, like
1 out of 10.
Oh my God! Make note of that right there. Okay, wait,
There might be songs on this fucking thing that I like less.
We're
halfway
through.
We're not even all the way done.
So a song that I think could have been like approached a lot better is the next one. I'm gonna start it off. Damage to Your Heart.
Damage in Your Heart.
Oh, was it Damage in Your Heart?
Yeah.
Shit. So Damage in Your Heart, not to your heart. I really wish this song started off like more of like a heavy like crashing drums. Because to me it sounds like a Pinkerton song. That opening, like, I don't know, call it a solo or riff. I really enjoyed it. I'm really down with it. The drums just sounded like so like very tight hi-hat. The whole I'm like, damn it, man. Like, this is like your opportunity to just like rock it out. Oh yeah, the harmonics I enjoyed.
Sure.
The part that I guess is the pre-chorus, Let It Go, the Damage to In Your Heart. Yeah.
I call that the chorus.
Okay, so what was the part that goes, I can tell you, is that
I think that's the second half of the chorus.
Yeah,
okay? So the first half of the chorus, I'm kind of like, and then I'm like, I can't tell you how the words have made me feel. I think that sounds like a Pinkerton song to me.
Do you know what I think is going on there that gives it that feel?
What is it?
Is that if you think about what the guitar is doing there,
Yeah,
it's going like E minor, dun, dun,
yeah,
and then it goes up to an A minor, right?
that sounds like
And then-
Pink Triangle a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Because what he's doing melodically over that is I can't tell. When he goes down to that tell, he's singing an F sharp over an A minor chord. So that's like a augmented sixth.
Okay.
And that's all over Pinkerton, especially in Pink Triangle.
Okay.
That augmented, that like
That's
A
what.
minor on
That's probably what I'm
sixth,
feeling. Oh yeah, yeah.
100%,
Okay.
dude.
Did it happen in Tragic Girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I told you the Pink Triangle feel. I felt it in that song.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, so it's
Yeah.
he's revisiting, and I've often wondered if he's doing it intentionally, a really identifiable motif from Pinkerton.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah. So
You're bang on.
okay. So I felt that, and like I thought the violin was a little dramatic for the song. It was like, and I wanted more from the solo. That's all I have to say about it, I guess. I think the harmonics that do do do. I can't sing the notes, but yeah. They were like they were not typical. All of them were not typical harmonics, were they? Like I think there's some of them were a bit like off, like because you can hit harmonics on different parts of the frets, and
Yeah.
I think some of those are a bit like weird. I think no, I don't know if you guys know how to play that part, but
I've never sat down to play it, but I think that I think maybe that third one, the high note, might be a little atypical.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I got nothing else to say. But I mean, I think it's like it sounds like all right with me. I don't know what else to say. about it.
This one was an early favorite of mine.
Yeah.
When I first listened to the album in full 4 years ago or so, this one stuck out to me. I really liked the melodies. Actually, the first half of the chorus, the descending, let it go.
Yeah.
I really love descending melodies like that.
Maybe it was the words I didn't like, I guess. But yeah.
Maybe. And I think this song does have some of the same lyrical problems we've been talking about. One more time, I've crossed the line. Now you won't be mine anymore. I think that's the sort of thing we've heard before on this album, even. But I think I really like the theme, the sentiment of the song. This idea that you've been harmed by something in the past, but and it's hurt you. It's hurt you bad. I can't tell you the words made me feel. Maybe that makes me think a little bit about like reception to Pinkerton. Of course, he's lived a long life that isn't just releasing Pinkerton, so it could be about anything. But
Wow, that's interesting.
But I think about that, and I so then the line "Let It Go," the damage in your heart really kind of does strike me as sort of a beautiful, simple sentiment, and I really like the harmonics, and I think that's part of what made this song stick out to me early on. Though I do think they get overused. I think they hit it a bit too many times. Where it kind of loses its novelty, even though it is a great hook.
Yeah.
And there are some lyrics I really love. I really like the second verse, "One more tear falling down your face doesn't mean that much to the world." Yeah. I think that's a great lyric. And the last thing I'll say before I toss it to Sandy is that outro of this song. It's like 30 seconds long, 20 seconds long, and it's sort of just these strikes with the strings. I think that's maybe the most beautiful moment on the album. You could put that on the end of any song and I would feel that way, and so it's kind of nice that it comes at the end of a song that melodically just really kind of strikes my ear in a nice way. So I really like this one. Though yeah, I can't champion it the way I do some other Weezer songs because it doesn't have the same depth. Like I feel like I've gotten about all I'm ever gonna get out of this song, and so I put it on when I want to hear that melody that I like, but it still feels like it sort of has a ceiling. Whereas other great Weezer songs, like most of the stuff on Pinkerton, I can listen to and I can still draw new things from it and still kind of find new appreciation for it. Whereas this one doesn't quite have that.
Yeah,
You've grown the sponge.
It does feel that way. It does feel that way. So
I totally get it.
I think I used to like it a bit more than I do now, just because I didn't realize that I had hit the ceiling before. I was like, this is a great song, and then I listened to it more, and I was like, yeah, I guess it's still good, but I'm just hearing the same things I liked, and it's not rising at all. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, so I'm kind of echoing you guys. So it seems like the consensus is that this is one of the better songs on Make Believe. I would agree with that. Early on, this was one that I probably would have said was my favorite on the album. I don't feel that way anymore. When it came out, I probably would have told you that at a certain point. I can't say a lot that you guys haven't said. I really like the melodic sort of throwback to Pinkerton that's on there. I think this is one of the better sounding songs, just in terms of the production of it. It has a sort of a fullness to it that I think the other ones don't really have. The rhythm section in particular has a nice round sort of bottom to it. I actually like the solo a lot. I love when he jumps the octave at the end. It sort of stays in this one place, and then right at the very end he jumps up an octave. It does this sort of little run that I find really satisfying. I also really like the vocal outro that he does. Where he rises, like I can't tell you.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's really, really nice, and it makes the way that he delivers it makes me think a little bit of like a 50s ballad or something like that. Just in his vocal delivery and sort of what's going on in the melody there, it makes me feel like a Roy Orbison song or something like that, which I really like. I actually don't mind the violin. It's a little cheesy, but it's a welcome bit of texture on an album that doesn't have very much texture.
True.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of balance of like trying to figure out. I know a violinist guy, and like he's offering to record on some songs. I'm like I'm working on. And like, yeah, I'm down for it. I'm also worried that like I don't want to like over like sentimentalize the way they sound.
Sure.
Maybe make them more kind of like more the Beatles kind of stuff was like I'm the Walrus kind of like like more texturized than rather than like make it really a lot more drama. Yeah.
The only thing that I think that this one sort of falls a little short on is that I think this was a bit of a missed opportunity in a certain aspect of the production that I feel like there's not much going on in terms of backing vocals.
Yeah, true.
And I feel like that's an area where Weezer's always really good, and that would have really elevated it. I think.
Is there any backing vocals in it?
I think there's some ahs.
Oh, okay.
Some background ahs and stuff.
Okay, yeah, I can't think of anything in
the other little bit of trivia that I'll add in is that this one is this is an older. So when they were recording Make Believe, there was a couple versions of Make Believe that got made and scrapped.
Yeah.
And this one was one that basically they had sort of finished Make Believe, and I guess some doubt crept into the proceedings at some point. While Rivers was away at Harvard finishing up his last semester there, it was the other three guys sort of just working on finishing up the album.
Yeah.
And they were like, we have these songs that are pretty good from earlier iterations of Make Believe, and we'd like to bring them back. This was one of them. I think Perfect Situation was another. I believe Pardon Me was another one.
Yeah.
So this was one that and maybe Freak Me Out as well, but I'm not too sure about that one. But this was one that was essentially finished from a Rivers demo, and he wasn't there when they did it. So this was like there was a Rivers demo with guitar and vocals, and then the other members of the band kind of just did it while he was away at school, and this was sort of the result. And I guess that's my understanding.
Oh,
of
cool!
This song.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's one of the better tunes on Make Believe, and there it is.
All right, so then who should start off? Pardon me.
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon me.
This song to me suffers from characteristics that had already been played with earlier on the album. Like once Hold Me hits, which is a song I like, that's when we start to get a lot of choruses where Rivers is really going up there, just kind of wailing.
Yeah.
And it happens again on Peace, Precious Hours, when he hits that.
I like your comparison to Pardon Me and Peace, because I got another comparison between the two.
Okay, cool. And so he does it again on this song, and then it's gonna keep happening. And so to me, it sort of grates on me. It feels like it would have been more interesting for him to write a different melody than the ones he's using in some of these choruses, where it's sort of just holding out a big note. Pardon me, like that. To be honest, it sounds like something I would write, and so I don't actually want to hear that all that much. I think he's a much better songwriter than I am, so I don't want to hear. Because, a chorus is often supposed to be a big moment, and so it makes sense that your mind is, I'm going to go to a high note, kind of hold it a little bit.
Yeah, makes it more exciting.
Emphasize the chorus, whereas, like, Damage in Your Heart is actually a pretty mellow chorus, and I think, to me, is a bit more pleasing to the ear. But I like the idea of this song. In fact, it's an idea that I kind of wish he had gone a bit deeper with, because I think of people that I either have wronged or at least think I've wronged, and worry that they still think about how I've perhaps wronged them, and so I would like to apologize to these people who aren't in my life anymore. So I think that's a great thing to write a song about.
Yeah.
But it sort of falls victim to the shallow treatment that the other songs have.
I found it. I agree with what you're saying. The beginning lyrics sort of like have a twist. I try my best. I gave it all. Sometimes my best wasn't good enough for you. Like it has like a sense of like I'm not good enough for you, and then it sort of just twists itself into like saying I know that I can be the meanest person in the world. It's like that's like kind of getting into the real theme. It's like the first like beginning was like
he throws a little bit of a smoke bomb out there.
Yeah, it's
confusing.
Yeah, it kind of confused me, and like the part about like the apologizing to people, and like I'm not a perfect soul. Pardon me is more of the theme of the song, but the first part was like I'm not good enough for you. It's kind of like more of a different attitude, but yeah.
Sure,
yeah,
and the meanest person in the world, like that sounds like something like a child would accuse someone of. And so it sort of sounds like he's being, in the verses, kind of condescending.
Yeah.
And so then I apologize to you and to everyone I've hurt too. Like it doesn't actually seem that sincere based on the verses and what he is apologizing for.
You think he's being sarcastic?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I think the message can easily be read that way because the lyrics are fleshed out.
Okay.
I do think it actually feels very sincere. The choruses feel sincere, but when I look at it on paper, it's easy to not read it that way, and I wish that wasn't the case.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Sandy?
This is one that when I first heard it, I was really into. I think because I hadn't heard Rivers singing personally like this in a while. And I think that the fact that it's so shallow didn't really register to me for a little bit, just because I was really happy to hear him singing a song that sounded emotional in some way, right?
Yeah.
This is like when I was listening to it the other day. This is the point on the album where I had like if it weren't for this podcast and the fact that like I was dedicated to listening to the album the whole way through, I would have stopped. Like,
Sure.
This is where I would have. This is where I was ready to call it and just be like, "Fuck this fucking album." Yeah, I don't know. It's just like after song after song after song of like these mid-tempo, like very just like 8 notes and really predictable rhyme schemes. At this point, you've had enough, and
Yeah.
and that's how I felt. But I don't want to be too. I don't want to be like overly negative about it because there are some things I do like. I like the kind of classic chord progression that's happening in the verse. Bum 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 bum. It's sort of like a 50s, almost kind of bum 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 sort of thing. You know what I mean? I like that a lot. I think that's really pleasing. I like the guitar solo a lot in this one as well. I think it's a great solo. I like there's a moment where he coming out of, I believe, the bridge, he's kind of just climbing in the melody. And in my heart, I feel like I'll be there with you. Like, I like that. There's stuff about it that I like, but I think on the whole, this is just another joyless, dour, make-believe song that.
I was just to say that I was gonna like try to like hook onto it. It's like I love that last chorus, last pre-chorus, whatever it was, that goes extra long and starts building up higher and higher.
Yeah, it's nice.
That was the part I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt if there's more you to say.
There wasn't a whole lot to say. I don't because I'm worried that I'm sounding really repetitive, but I just think that it's I think it's a shallow song masquerading as a deep one, and which I think could be said about most of Make Believe. I just don't find it entertaining. I don't find that they're not offering you a lot in terms of like looking after you as the listener who's got to sit through this fucking thing. Looking after you.
I never heard it put that way before. You gotta look after your listeners.
Like throw me a fucking bone, man. Like, but yeah. Anyway, no. There's one other thing I want to like that I do like that I think is cool that I want to pop in there.
Yeah.
Pardon me, my friend. At that part where my friend, you can hear it sounds like Brian doing a pretty high harmony in there. My friend, and it's an interesting interval. It's not a third. It sounds like it's like a suspended fourth or something like that. It's interesting. And I've never sat down at a guitar to figure out exactly what it is, but it's kind of atypical and it's cool, and I notice it every time. So yeah, this one, like I can't throw too much. I don't want to heap tons of hate on it because there's enough going on in there that I kind of like, but I don't think the whole package is pleasing. The fact that there's things in it that I enjoy, it's not enough. It doesn't come together in a way that satisfies me.
Yeah, I thought I was like, screw that solo.
Oh yeah,
fuck that solo. He keeps going on about how much he sucks all the time. But I want to say though is that like, I think this is also the intro is very much it belongs with Crab. This is another Crab song with me. I think they all like this is like Crab's other cousin. That's how I feel about
is a crab a crustacean?
Yeah.
Is that what they are? Yeah. Crustacean.
So it belongs in the same shell? Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, I'm gonna be like I'm thinking about like genuses and like species. I'm thinking about like species of songs.
Is it like a lobster or two?
You seem to be identifying this particular species of Weezer song that might be crustaceans.
Crustaceans. Weezer songs.
Okay, so wait, how does Pardon Me start?
It's like dun 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 dun.
Oh God, I made a note of it, but I think the piece was the one that was definitely more Crab, but yeah. Anyway,
it kind of sounds like at the beginning when all the saints go marching in.
Yeah.
And also, it kind of gives me like Falling for You, which immediately gets way more interesting.
And then right in the middle, you have Oh Baby.
That's everywhere, man. That's every song has it.
The Crab kind.
Wow.
I'm gonna I'm gonna do like a mix of every song that has that crab riff and then the oh baby in it too. Oh baby. Was it Best Friend? Was
My
it
best friend.
was recorded apparently for I don't know if it was Shrek or Shrek 2 soundtrack?
I don't know if it was recorded. This is what I'm curious.
Oh, okay.
Was it recorded for it, or was it offered to the people?
Oh, okay.
Right, which I don't know. I don't know.
I think the way I understood the story that I've heard is that it was offered, but I guess I never really thought about that. I guess there's a chance he could have like shown them a demo or like the lyrics, but the song was written in some capacity, and Rivers showed it to them because the Shrek 2 people, Shrek himself was like, do you guys have a song for my new movie coming out? It's me, Shrek. I'm putting out Shrek 2. And Rivers was like, I wrote this song. It's sort of about an ogre-ish friend of mine. And the Shrek 2 people were like, yeah, this is too Shrekish. And then it got used in the credits of the movie Yogi Bear 5 years later.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
So like Weezer kept pushing it. It's got to be in something. Come on.
Scott said in an interview, actually, as Rivers was detailing the story, Scott said something like, "It's almost cooler that it wasn't in Shrek 2 because Shrek 2 would come and go, but now it can live on forever as its own thing." And Rivers was like, "Fuck that, Yogi Bear."
Yogi Bear 2 of all things. Was the first Yogi Bear?
No, I think it was the first.
Oh, okay.
The first and only Yogi Bear.
Oh, was there? I didn't know. I didn't know the whole.
So my best friend killed the Yogi Bear franchise as well.
I guess I don't know the origins of the song necessarily, but like it sounds to me like it belongs on a Shrek soundtrack. I think the song is very well constructed. Would never seek it out. If it came on the radio, I would like turn it up and be like, yeah. But like it's just like it's not for me. Like there's nothing wrong with it to me. I imagine it's for kids, and like kids are kind of like going like, maybe it's because I'm biased because I thought it was for a soundtrack.
Sure, yeah.
But like,
I guess it wasn't for kids originally, right?
Maybe not, yeah. But like, the lyrics just sound so like, there's nothing about the lyrics that like have any like adult situations. I'm not saying that they should, but they're like super like I honestly can't find a single word here that would like this is a kid's song, but
nursery rhyme.
Yeah, it's a nursery rhyme, and nothing wrong with that. I found the solo kind of like stuck out as like a weird part of the song. Like kids are like, what? They're kind of like they're kind of dancing, and that part comes on. They're like, what's happening now? But anyway, yeah, I also don't have a lot to say about it. And I'm gonna say, Sandy, you speak first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like this song. I've never liked this song. Even when I like Make Believe a lot, I didn't like this song.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that work in it for me. I'll hit those first because I don't want to be too negative. I like obviously that it's energetic.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're at least enjoying themselves. When
Yeah.
they're producing it, which again, this is not a fun album. So like these these little moments where it sounds fun do stand out, right?
Yeah, it is kind of fun. Yeah.
I really like the way that the melody and the chords are working together on that part of I'm here right beside you, I will like that, that sort of pre-chorus. I think that's really nice. And if you listen in the right speaker, they buried it a bit in a mix, which I think was a mistake, but you can hear a descending guitar line that's harmonizing with the descending bass line in the part that goes, and I hear the pain you feel when you start crying. Like that part.
Yeah.
There's the chords are going down. It's like bum 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 bum. There's a guitar line in the right ear that is above that. It sounds like, I'm guessing it's Brian. It sounds Brian-y. But there's
Brian-y.
Yeah. It's descending with the bass line, but it's a nice interval. Like it might just be like an 11th or something like that, or a third. But it's just pleasing. Excuse me. It's just pleasing, and it sounds nice.
Yeah.
And I've always noticed that and thought that was a cool little detail that's just nice. Having said that, I don't think there's a lot else on offer with this one. I don't know. Like the staccato choruses I don't think really work. I usually like those when Weezer does them, but I don't like them here. I think that the selection of chords is not optimal. I don't think they sound good together. I don't particularly care for like the wah-wah effects that are going on in it. I think it's a little too dad rock for me, and it's not working. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely one of my least favorite songs on the album, but it's not as offensive as my other least favorite songs. Like it's not as like odious as as like We Are All on Drugs or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But it's pretty rough. I could have lived without it, and this is another one where I was just like,
I could live without it. Yeah.
and especially because I know, and it's not like I know it, like I have special secret knowledge here. These are all well-known songs. Like if you ever listen to like Rivers' like Alone albums or anything like that.
I've heard a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, like there were good upbeat songs that could have gone on Make Believe if they needed some. Like there's a song called I Was Scared that from the same era that's fucking incredible. It's so good. And
I remember the name, I don't remember the song, but
yeah, it's like it's really catchy, it's really up tempo, it's got a lot of really interesting moments. Like it's just like the curse of being of going deep into the Weezer songbook is understanding what could have been, right? Yeah, I don't care for My Best Friend. I think it's a bad song by a band that could have done better. And that's about all I have to say about it.
All right, Liam, what you guys say?
I think it's a bad song too. I think I like it more than Sandy though. I think it's done pretty dirty by its production.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just way too sugary sweet, especially on this album. I mean, I know we've been kind of harping on the down tempo plotting nature of this album, and so but when this song hits, it's such whiplash because it starts with, I guess that is the wah pedal doing that, whatever that main lick is.
There's an organ too going.
Yeah, the organ as well. Yeah. The sound of that really grates on me, and just the lick that it's playing, I think is just so abrasive and bothers me. But like hearing you sing that pre-chorus melody as you were detailing the descending guitar line reminds me that I think some of the vocal melodies in this thing are really nice, and I would actually love to hear like a slightly slower, not a ballad, but a slightly slower, like acoustic version of this song.
Yeah.
I think that would sound nice because the staccato nature of the choruses also feels to me like it is a step back from, it feels like we're building towards something, and then it kind of like chokes it off before I can get into it. But I really do like the Yes I Do, which is another descending melody. I have a thing for those. But even still, like I harp on I can criticize the staccato nature of the chorus, but when they open up the chorus at the end, it's not that much of a relief. Like it doesn't sound much better, to be honest.
I'm just thinking now, I wonder if it would be better if when they open it up at the end, it was like, instead of like, because they kind of go like double, like I feel like Pat starts hitting the snare like a lot more rapidly.
Yeah.
I wonder if it worked better if they did like a halftime, like
Sure.
And I love you.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Like a breakdown, yeah.
And the lyrics are similar sort of thing where they're just so straightforward, and they're the fact that they are very positive is not, to me, a welcome break from the rest of the lyrics, just because the actual like quality of the sentence structure isn't any better. It just happens to not be about something sad in this case, but it's still equally as uninteresting. So with some lyric tweaks and honestly like a bit of song workshopping, I do think this could be a much better song.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it, but it's certainly it's only gone down in my estimation. I mean, I imagine the first time I heard it, I heard that chorus melody that I liked, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a kind of a nice song, but it's not a good enough melody to make me want to keep coming back to it. And then there are also all these other things that actively work against it.
The lyrics, like I'm not saying that every song should do this, but like when you're making like a movie or telling a story, there needs to be like a conflict, and this right here, or like like a resistance or some sort of like issue, and this one right here is just like, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. And it's kind of, I mean, and there's probably songs that can work that way. Just like it comes off as shallow. Like, I don't think, is he actually referring to somebody? I don't know.
I think that it's actually really difficult to write a happy song.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier, I've found in my experience, to write a sad song or a song with tension or anxiety. And I think that when you're trying to write a happy song, you run the risk of it sounding kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because there's no conflict, right? And you're like, well, but I also think that if we look later in their discography, like I can think of some songs where he does a really good job of it, like off the White Album, like "Wind in Our Sail."
Yeah,
I think is a really good example of how to write like a truly happy, like, love song, without it sounding trite or stupid.
Yeah.
So it's definitely possible. But you didn't do it here.
Yeah, and I hate to pit two of my favorite bands against each other, but for Shrek 2, the song that one of the songs they ended up using, I don't know if it was like, it would have been this or the other one, but they used Accidentally in Love by Counting
Oh, nice, yeah.
Which is a happy song, and I think that's a great pop song.
Yeah.
So maybe the producers of Shrek 2 were using that it's too Shrekish to be kind of like polite to Rivers and be like, we're not going to use it. It's just too Shrekish, but it's a good song. It's too good for what we want. Whereas what they were really looking for is we need some conflict.
Yeah.
Get Kelly Crows in here.
So in terms of conflict, I'm gonna bring it up to
the other way.
Elliott Smith committed suicide.
Yeah.
Good times for.
I know that's the origin, but
yeah, he was well, I don't need to. Everyone has Wikipedia. I mean, we all have Google, whatever. But
I remember the day that happened.
When he committed suicide,
yeah.
I didn't even know he existed until after he was dead.
I was
Yeah,
a big fan of his.
Okay, cool.
I think I've mentioned my Uncle Brian a few times on this podcast. So
Yeah.
Hi, Uncle Brian.
How's he doing, man?
He's had COVID a little while ago, but he's getting better. He says he's going for runs again and he feels good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But he had been making me mixtapes since I was a kid, and he always put a lot. He always, from like the first one, he put Elliott Smith on it. He was a big Elliott Smith fan. So I was pretty into Elliott Smith by the time he died, like 2003.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me so much because I wasn't like the world's biggest Elliott Smith fan. I was like, oh damn, that really sucks. But I remember that pretty well. I wasn't like heartbroken or anything.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck me, really. But I think it really bummed him out. I emailed him and told him, and he wrote me back right away. I was like, holy shit.
Yes. So like this. So Elliott Smith had a girlfriend.
Jennifer Chiba.
All right, you know the name. Okay, so yeah, so apparently she had also dated Rivers Cuomo.
Yeah.
But at the time she was dating Elliott Smith, and he had committed suicide. There's conspiracies that she may have killed him. Long story short, I think it was at the funeral. Rivers came to it, and she was there, or somehow they interacted with each other after the fact of him committing suicide, and he was like, afraid to like, really. I want to help you, but I don't know how. I want to soothe you, but I can't speak out. Anyway, there's all these words, and it's like he's like, I want to be with you. I want to make sure, but I'm questioning my own motives. And like when I heard this song, I kept trying to imagine Elliott Smith playing it, and I thought there's some parts that he could actually play kind of nicely, like the verses especially. But I don't know. I like the song, but like I don't like it a lot. It's like, is that a good clue? I literally wrote, I think this is pretty catchy, but I can't figure out why I don't dig it. And I said the solo meh. So like, yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say about it. It's like it doesn't feel worthy of like Elliott Smith, and like it doesn't feel worthy of Weezer either. Like it's like,
probably the more important note because it doesn't have to be worthy of Elliot's.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it doesn't have to match his.
It's not like
But like, if he wrote "Saying So" about Elliot Smith's girlfriend, then that'd be like, all right, this is dark. But yeah, no, I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't really like it. I guess. Yeah. This dog's gotta chill out. Yeah.
Is that gonna be bleeding hard into the mics?
I don't think so, but should we kill him?
Just we are all on drugs on headphones.
Dude.
Just lock the dog in the room.
So actually, Liam, your thoughts?
I really quite like this song. The main thing I like about it, I guess, is its lyrical content. At least the idea behind the lyrics. I think that is a great concept for a song. This idea of I want to reach out to a person. I don't know if it's appropriate, maybe because we haven't seen each other in a while, and I don't know if it's appropriate because I don't even know what I want to get out of it. I don't know if I'm being selfless or selfish. I think I have many fears about my motives. That sounds like a Pinkerton line to me. I think that's a great line, a great reason to write a song.
There's also like, so I'll turn and look the other way is like totally the way of avoiding the situation. Is like, you're like literally you're right next to the person, but you're like, I'm gonna look over this direction.
Maybe she didn't see me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I also really love the sort of I don't know what I call them, 50s guitar elements. I'd love to know if you guys could tell me like what effects are on these guitars.
I don't know.
At the beginning, and then in the verse, the walk down. But I don't know how.
Bum, 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 bum. I'm going just off my memory. I wouldn't be surprised if it were a tremolo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Those were pretty popular in the 50s as well. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. I think it suits the acoustic guitar that's used at the beginning really nice. I think Rivers sounds very sincere in that opening verse. Like his voice is kind of breaking. It kind of reminds me of Butterfly, where it kind of sounds like the vocal was like one take, and he's just doing it very closely into a microphone. I think that this song ends up being a sort of such a pop song by the end of it. Like the chorus is so poppy, especially with like the double snare hits, and they really emphasize them in the bridge where all the other instruments fall out, but then they have like the hand claps that like that's I'm not certain if I love that direction. I like it well enough, but I do think that the actual subject matter here is so heartfelt that I do wonder what it would be like if it had been followed through to a bit of a darker place. But I think if you're determined to make a pop song out of it, like I'd take this over My Best Friend any day of the week. They both have very poppy choruses. I think you only need one of them on the album, and this is the one I would use. I think it's a really really cool song. Same.
Yeah. So this one is one that if you had asked me at the start of my relationship with Make Believe, I probably would have told you this was the best song on it. I don't feel that way anymore, but I think it's still a really good one, especially, and I mean, it's not a high bar to clear, but given the album that it's on, this is a standout to me for sure. I really like the sound of it, just production wise. I think it sounds really full. Like the drums in particular have a very nice full kind of round feeling to them, which I like, and I think is absent on a lot. I don't like how the rhythm section sounds on most of Make Believe, but it sounds really good on this one and a couple other ones. I think that it's the subject matter that helps me appreciate this one as well, just because we know the story about it, and we know that it actually is something that happened to him.
Yeah.
Everything else on this album, you he could be writing about something that happened to him. He could be, maybe not. You know, it's like it's that vague. This one is one that does have that sort of kernel of sincerity to it. There's a bit, the reason that it's kind of fallen from grace for me is that I find that the chorus is a little repetitive now. I find that by the end of the song, I'm tired of hearing the words the other way.
The other
and
way.
they do it for a while.
Long
Like, at the end of the song, it goes on longer than I would think, and longer than I'd like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason that it's kind of fallen down for me. It's just that by the end of the song, I'm really quite ready to be done listening to it. As opposed to wanting to hear more of it, which is how I like to feel at the end of the song. Usually. There's an interesting element in it that I've always heard that I don't know if anyone else hears, which is I've always felt like I could hear a saxophone in the solo, doubling the guitar. In particular, there's a part where the solo is like da 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 da. When it goes up, yeah, I swear I can hear a saxophone behind there, and I don't know if there actually is one, but I've always heard it.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, and I don't know the answer, but like it could be the effects on the pedals that creating the illusion. But yeah, I can totally hear what you're saying. Yes. It's totally there. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I like this one. I think it's a good. I mean, you said already a lot of what I would say about it in terms of why I like it. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. But I think it's a pretty good song. My friend Tim, to come back to our little car things that we used to annoy each other with. So Tim used to do. I don't think it really annoyed me as much as it. I need to find my keys seemed to annoy him.
Yeah.
But it was a little irritating. But I mostly just thought it was funny. Is that Tim has like a very deep voice, like he's got a very deep baritone, and he can't sing high notes. Like he can't do it. Well, I think anybody could, but he just that's not a goal of his, right?
Gotcha.
You know, he's a good singer and a good guitar player, but it's a deeper tone, right?
Yeah.
He would do the he would kind of like sort of jokingly do Brian Bell's high harmonies. I'd be like, I will turn and look the other way.
Yeah.
But he would do it like he'd be like, you know, like on like the Live Aid videos or whatever where people are like kind of like doing that or whatever. Yeah. He'd be like, I will turn and look the other way. What? It would crack me up so much. So that's a nice memory I have associated with this, is just being a goofball fucking kid in the car with my buddy.
So how do you feel about Freak Me Out?
You're asking me? Are we transitioning?
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. I'm gonna throw it right in your face.
Okay. This I think is one of the better songs on Make Believe.
All right, cool.
I genuinely believe that. It's production wise, it's interesting. There's enough going on in the production that I think even if it didn't have lyrics, I would like it. Mm-hmm. I really like that you can hear the down tune, like the bass is really low. Like he must be in like, I don't know what, like drop C or something.
Oh, is he really? Yeah.
It's low, man.
Oh wow, I didn't know. Okay.
I like we've all heard that it's like about a spider apparently. Which
yes.
You know, so we're entering the spider era of Weezer because there's going to be more than one. You know, that's fine. I like the harmonica. I just think that it's a cool song that I think is pretty underrated. I like the really dry snare drum sound. I always have, like the snare sounds really dry and like really forward in the mix. I think the backing vocals are cool. Freak me out, like that stuff. There's a few lyrics that I think are dumb, but I've said much worse about most of the lyrics on this album, so like that's fine. This is one that I actually think is a pretty interesting song, and I think that it exists sort of just on its own merits. That there's really not any other songs in their whole discography that sound like it. Yeah,
it is. It's an unusual one. I was just gonna cut in. You can come back, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like the harmonics, like there's a lot of like odd harmonics on it that like I don't know how to play. It's to me it sounds like kind of like rain almost. Okay, wait. I'm just gonna wrap. I'm gonna get my thoughts out really quickly.
Good.
Okay. Had great atmosphere. Okay. The bridge. I'm gonna try to improve my manners. Everyone is my friend. I mean, like that is like the most cringiest lyrics I've ever heard in my life.
It's pretty dumb. Yeah.
And I was gonna say like the harmonica. I like they have that as a solo. Like it wasn't like enough for me like to be like an amazing harmonica solo. And also I just love the outro. The guitar line on that was really nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the guitar work in this whole song is really great. I think it was a really inventive song. I'm down with it. I think there's some parts to cringe about, but yeah, overall great. Yeah. The Liam, you got or
I'm with you guys. Sandy said, you said, Sandy, that you would even like this song if there weren't any vocals.
I might like it more.
yeah, maybe it would improve the song. Yeah,
that's what I would say too. That's not totally fair. I think I would be down for a cut where he's not saying words and he's just singing a melody, because I think his voice sounds really nice on this song. He's singing in a different way than he is on the other songs. I mean, like at the end of Other Way, especially with Brian, he's doing what I call like the make believe wail. He's just giving her. Whereas this song, he's down there a lot of it. He's even whispering on some of these call and responses, and I think it sounds really pretty. I think what takes the song down from being one of the great Weezer songs, because I think it could be musically, is just the lyrics. They're not as bad as We Are All on Drugs, because they do create a bit of an atmosphere. I really like how you said the harmonics remind you of rain, pairing that with City Streets at Night. I mean, there it's like you've got, if it sounds like rain, then it's like, now I'm picturing rainy City Streets at Night, but he didn't even have to say that. It can seem so intimidating. Like, that's a great opening line for a song. But I don't think it really goes anywhere with it. And knowing that it's inspired by a spider, it takes away from the song to me, even, because it's like, it's fine to be inspired to write a song about something so trivial, but it feels like he didn't go the extra step and like figure out, okay, well, if I'm writing about this spider, how can I use that feeling and compare it to something else? Or how can I really zone in on that feeling, as he later does in a song about a spider? So as is, it sort of does feel like We Are All on Drugs lyrics, in that if I take them at face value, they don't seem like they're really saying much of anything. And if I try to think of them in like a metaphorical sense, he's not giving me enough to work with where I can actually pull out meaning in the song beyond a couple of the images he creates. But I really, really like listening to this song. It doesn't even have any instances of melodic like incongruity, something melodic that grates on me. Like, even Other Way has it at the end of the chorus. I'm not super into that wail that happens. I wish the chorus resolved in a different way. Whereas this song doesn't have it. I can totally listen to this song front to back and be really pleased. It's just the lyrics that bring it down for me.
Cool, yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
I don't know if they've ever played it live.
Yeah, I wonder.
I think I read that it's the only one they had from the album.
I would.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe I read that it's the oldest Weezer song they've never played.
It's like I heard the original like demo of it, and it sounded like hitting those octaves was not the octaves, the harmonics wasn't landing all the time. So it might be a difficult song to play. So that's why they didn't do it. But
well, these days they could do it with just backing tracks. So get your shit together, boys.
Yeah, we're seeing you guys in a week.
Yeah,
or like a synth or something. Maybe like doo, doo, doo. All right. So who would like to start off the last song?
I think Liam should.
All right, Liam, do it.
Okay.
Do it. Sorry.
This song I think is one of the better ones. And I think that because melodically, there's nothing in it that grates on me. It's true.
That's where we're at the end of Make Believe, track 12.
The song doesn't bother me. It's my top tier.
My issue with this song is that it doesn't feel to me distinct enough to be your closing song. Like, it feels pretty similar to some other songs on the album. It feels like a better version of some of those songs. Like, I like this song more than Pardon Me. I might even like it more than Peace. But it's not different enough that I don't understand why it's here at the end. And maybe that's just me putting too much value on a closing track. Because if I just take the song by itself, I do think it's really nice, but it's pretty similar to the other sort of mid-tempo ballads on the album, and a lot of the songs on this album really do follow a similar structure and similar tempos. So even though I like the solo on the song a lot, it's a solo where it's like, at least it isn't doing the Green thing where the solo isn't following the vocal melody, but then it honestly makes me miss some of like the verses and choruses on the Green album, because those are more interesting than some of the verses and choruses on this thing. So like, I kind of want a combo of them. But I do like it, and I think the lyrics are pretty inoffensive, actually. I mean, I think that some of them are kind of evocative and nice, so I really do like this one.
I agree. I can't remember where I have it in my rankings, but it's one of the songs I like more on this album. Again, which doesn't say a ton. I think my biggest faults with it would be that I noticed when I listened to it this time is how, again, it's like there's something about the production on this album where I really feel like Pat and Scott got done kind of dirty. Like, I don't think the drums sound very good, and I don't think the bass sounds very good. It seems very flat. It's not heavy. Like, this is a song that could be heavy, right?
Yeah.
Those choruses should be heavy, but they feel light to me because the way the drums and the bass are mixed, and I don't find it very satisfying at all. I think the chord progression is really nice. I don't know that it's anything like musically groundbreaking. I don't think it is. I've never sat down to figure it out. It sounds like it's just like an ascending sequence of some kind.
Yeah, I saw some sort of like YouTube breakdown of it, and it's like a lot of minor chords.
Yeah.
Like one after another, but yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely would give it that kind of dark feel. Weezer doesn't do minor key very often, so you get points for that too, because usually their songs are in major key, or at least sort of ambiguously like major key but sounding sad. This one is just obviously minor key. It's got a good vocal performance. It's got a good solo, I think, too. But again, it's at the risk of being repetitive, it's just another really serious mid-tempo, 8 notes, a little bit too long song, right? That if it was produced a little better, I would probably like it a lot more. Like, even if it was just mixed a little better. I don't know why. Like, Make Believe, I think is one of their worst sounding albums, just as a whole. I don't think it sounds very good. It sounds really brittle to me. It doesn't have the heaviness that Weezer should have, and it often does have. Yeah, I don't know. It's all right. I've read that Rivers wrote this. Ruben gave him a challenge to write a song like completely on piano.
Yeah,
and that's how he came up with this.
It's a good. I mean, can I transition into what I'm going to say, or you want to say
about Billy Joel?
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds like Elton John or Billy Joel vibes. Yeah.
Because I think that's what he was going for, or Ruben might have told him to aim for that.
Yeah, so like I was going to say, like I might have heard. I don't know if I heard that exactly, but yeah, I probably had it in my subconscious. But I was like, feels like an Elton John / Billy Joel kind of song.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Kev?
Yeah, so that was the first thing I was going to say, and I think you just said that like with a better production, it would have been a lot better of a song. I literally wrote with production, this would have been a could have been a top tier song. I also love the solo in it. I love at the end. There's like these there's like these dynamics where like the drums and the bass are kind of going din and kind of stopping, and the guitar is like flowing over it. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I'm not as critical of it. I'm probably more pro it. Like, I enjoy. There's like this sort of like free flowing soloing towards the end. It's very similar to like Perfect Situation. It's like the and like it's kind of like riffing on stuff, and it's like it's like this is like the first album they had that was able to breathe. Like Maladroit and like and Green were like totally like like this is your last song. You have 30 seconds left. Wrap it up. And this is like the first time they actually like able to like sort of like rock things out for a bit. So like yeah, I'm pro this song. But yeah, I understand it's not it it was done wrong in some ways. I don't know. I mean, like for the lyrics, like I no, the lyrics don't bother me in any way, but I don't know. I can't imagine myself like meeting somebody like, hey, want to hear a really great song? And like we like gather together and like I push play and like check out this song. And it's like haunt you every day. Like it's not gonna be the song I'm gonna show somebody, but I still like it though. I like it, yeah. But yeah.
I think that by the time like it by the like as I said earlier, by the time I hit Pardon Me, I was like, okay, I can't do it.
I gotta take a break.
This has the same effect. I feel like by the time you've made it to the end of Make Believe,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like do something different, man. Like this, like maybe we can transition into some final thoughts here, but like I don't know. Like
there's not a lot of joy. Is that what you're trying to say in some ways?
This album is not fun, and it doesn't. Albums don't have to be happy to be fun. They don't have to be. They don't have to be like really bright and cheery to be engaging or entertaining. They just have to be well written and well produced. And this album is neither well written nor is it well produced, and that's really the bottom line for me. And I wonder. I wonder how this one made it out the gate the way that it is, because they were working on it for a really long time, and it just makes me wonder about like who was driving the bus and who was making the decisions, because we've since found out just over the years that there is a number, and this is always Weezer's problem, is that someone, I don't know if it's Rivers or whom, I don't know, doesn't seem to be able to tell a good Weezer song from a bad one, or at least struggled with that for a really long time. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if you go into the demos from 2004, 2005, there's more than enough A tier songs to have made Make Believe into something special, and it wouldn't have taken that much. There's a great song called I Was Scared that I already mentioned. There's another really good one called I Was Made For You. Those are both on his Alone album.
I also just wonder in general, like it's gonna bring it back to like music that I'm playing and stuff, but like there's this Toby song called Falsettos. I had written that when I was like 15 years old.
Wow.
And so like
fucking awesome song.
Well, sorry, well, the melody was the vocal melody was Marie's and stuff. So and the lyrics were her, right? So I shouldn't say it was written clear and plain then, but like the idea was like I was willing to harvest things that were from like the past, right? Mm-hmm. And like I hear a lot of Weezer demos that were from the past that sound amazing. Like why aren't they harvesting these things? Like is it about the idea that you're trying to capture like your present moment?
I don't know, because he goes back and pulls a lot from older years these days.
Yeah,
like he does that. That's like I would say like something he's doing pretty regularly for the last 5 or 6 years or so. But I think that maybe 2004 era Rivers felt like there was nothing maybe worth harvesting in his previous eras. You know, I think that he was having a really major identity crisis around this time. And if you look at like for example like Death to False Metal, which has a number of tracks on it that were from this period, right? There's Blowing My Stack is one. There's another one called Losing My Mind. There's a couple of more, but I'm going on. I don't know where I'm quite going with this right now, but
You're talking about like harvesting from the past.
yeah, well, like Losing My Mind is a rewrite of a very good Summer Songs 2000 song called My Brain.
Yeah.
And it's fucking horrible. It's like it's one of the worst. When we get to Death of False Metal, you gotta. I'm gonna spoil it right now. My least favorite track on that album is Losing My Mind. It fucking sucks.
Okay. Okay. There's a question about when we should approach that one. If we should approach it in consecutive order, or consider it like a B-sides album.
Rivers said,
okay.
and Rivers said at the time that it was and this is his exact words, logical follow-up to Hurley.
Is logical? Wait, the False Metal?
Yeah.
How could it be his logical follow-up? It was like a compilation album.
But they worked. It was stuff that they had. It was nothing. There was nothing on it that was like it was a compilation album. But they also added things to every single one of the songs.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
To make them more Hurley follow-up.
Yeah. To make it more of a logical follow-up. Really. Look. I'm gonna stop talking. I just became self-conscious of the fact that I've been talking for a while. But I'm just gonna wrap up my kind of thoughts here by saying that like. I don't know how we got this album. I don't know who was making the decisions. I don't know who decided that this was the best package they could put together. It just seems demonstrably false when you look at everything that they were doing, and it feels like we got a little bit of a bait and switch, and maybe that's why I was so enthusiastic about it when it came out, because I don't know if you remember this, Kevin, but there was a lot of publicity around like. This is a really important album for Weezer. Rivers is going back to like deeper places. You know, he's writing from a more sincere place. So I feel like the Spin team was really trying to create a narrative that this was going to be some kind of deep or complex work, and that might have influenced my initial perceptions of it. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bad. Album in my opinion, and it's the first bad album that Weezer put out that I think you could call a bad album.
You might, yeah. I can see that. I can definitely.
And it was like my relationship with it changed over time. Like I really did think this was good when it came out, and was influenced unfortunately by it, and wasted some good songwriting years.
Wasted many years on this recording.
Writing songs kind of like this.
Yeah.
When I could have been exploring other sounds that would have been better. Yeah, I'm. This one's rough. This was rough, and I listened to it in the last 24 hours. I listened to it 3 times, and like I think I'm good. I don't think I'll be revisiting Make Believe again. I don't need to get this one on vinyl, and that's all I have to say.
It's stolen too many years from
you. Yeah. There's the pain. The pain is too complex and deep.
All right, I'm gonna like sort of like do like a vague guess here. I'm not sure what to. Well, well, this is like the part where we like.
I want to hear final thoughts from both of you guys.
All right.
I just gave a little bit of an edit.
Do you want me to go first? You want to go first? You want to gather your thoughts? I can speak about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this was a song. I mean, this was a song. This was an album that, I was like, when I heard it was coming out, I got very excited about it, and I heard Beverly Hills, and like, I like showed it. I was like, had roommates. I was like showing it to them, like, yeah, this is great, and no one told me it was bad, and I lived my life just like, yeah, because the songs breathe. I'm like, like the truth is, I don't stand a chance. Something you're born into, and I just don't belong. I'm like, yeah, man, that's like El Scorcho, totally. Anyway.
I love the idea of you listening to like your Screamo playlist that you said you were listening to, and then going to Beverly Hills, and you like,
this resonates. Yeah.
Yes.
The duality of man.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I revisiting it. Yeah, I mean, I really don't want a lot to do with it, but like. but like I honestly like my initial thoughts were that there was some really inventive guitar solos.
Sure.
And I still feel that way. I think the guitar work, I think like Perfect Situation has some really nice guitar work in it. And I think whenever there's a chance for the guitar to explore stuff, I think it really has a good. It really sounds nice. Has a good chance to like do its thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have no affection for it overall, but yeah, I know. In some ways, I'm like, I hear Best Friend, I'm like, yeah, it's like it's super cheese, but I think it's a well constructed song. Anyway, I'm not gonna. I'll just say Best Friend's not the best song for me, or the worst song for me. So just don't bet on it anyway. All right, what do you got?
I think this album suffers from being a full album. I think it suffers from how much. The more I listen to it, the more I dislike it. I mean, we were initially going to do this episode about a month ago, and that was when I listened to Make Believe more during that time than I did in this last week leading up to when we were actually able to record. So a month ago, I was listening to this album a lot, and I tell you what, I mean, I was getting sick of some of these songs, but I was still finding things I like, and then when we postponed the recording and I listened to something else for the first time in like a week, like I think I put on like a Jimmy Eat World album, and I was like, it is so nice to hear a different album than
yeah, exactly.
Hear a different type of music.
Yeah.
And I could have put on a different Weezer album, and I think I would have had the same feeling. I would have had that relief.
I think you're absolutely right, yeah.
And when I think back to when I discovered this album 4 years ago, I think I went through what you guys are describing in a shorter time frame. But when I first listened to it, I was just picking out the melodies that I liked and latching on to the small things in songs that I liked. And I told myself, oh, because I'm finding these small things, this album's only gonna get better. I'm already liking the songs I'm hearing. When in actuality, what happened is, for the most part, I stayed liking those small things, but I didn't end up liking anything else.
The grander picture, yeah.
Everything else has just faded, and in some cases, the things I even liked have become worse the more familiar I've got with them. And I think the most damning thing I can say about this album is when I get all the way through the end, like Sandy says, when you finish this album, it does feel like you went through the trenches, even if you like some stuff along the way, because so many of the songs are so similar. Like, you're right, there are cool guitar solos, but every song is so similar in tempo and feel that you can only, I think, do so much with those solos. Whereas I think of Maladroit or Pinkerton or Blue, the solos happening there are in songs that are so distinct. Whereas these songs, the solos, I don't think they can save them. And when I finish the album, I want to hear Beverly Hills again, because I've just sat through like 10 of these mid-tempo ballads of varying quality, and at that point it feels like Beverly Hills feels like a lifetime ago. And it's so different that even though Beverly Hills isn't my favorite song on the album, I'll tell you that, I kind of want to hear it more than I want to hear any other song on the album by the time I'm done, because it is the most different.
I wonder if like AI will ever be able to like calculate, like sort of like ingest these songs and say like, this song is shit, this song is great, based on their complexity, and actually like be close to a human reaction. Or is that just going to be like maybe the songs we have disdain for are the ones that like don't offer enough variety?
What I'm gonna try that out tonight. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT
what
it thinks of Make Believe by Weezer.
Yeah, well, have it list its top songs from beginning to end.
Yeah,
see how it'll do that.
Well, I'm gonna ask it to. Maybe I'll ask it to pretend that it's a long-time Weezer fan, and then I'll ask it to pretend that it's a new Weezer fan, and see if it.
Okay. You want to do the votes?
Let's vote.
All right. So wait.
Did you say did you give a wrap up?
Yeah, I gave a wrap up. Yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty brief. It was just about like how I got when it came out. Like I showed my roommates, and they're like,
oh yeah. And you're like, this is not bad.
No one said anything, but
yeah, that's like when you're a teenager and like you're really into, you're like, I'm gonna wear a life jacket to school every day. That's my new style. That's really sick, and everyone around you, even your friends, they're not calling you out. They're being supportive of you. But in hindsight, you're like, why didn't anyone stop me?
actually. I had a not a roommate, but a neighbor in my dorm who truly did not understand why I thought this was a good album, and
That's a true friend.
Yeah. You are tough, man, Kevin. Honestly, it's tough. It's really tough to figure out what your best ones are. I find it. I feel a little more confident in what your worst one is going to be.
But do you feel much more? Do you feel confident about what Liam's best one is?
Slightly more confident, like slightly. Liam's also tricky, but
see, like, because I'm making notes the whole time, so like I'm kind of cheating. Like,
no, dude, you're allowed to. They give you those little notepads in the board game of Clue for a reason.
I'm playing Clue right now. Honestly, I'm literally not trying to like disguise myself.
I think that you're just a very mysterious man.
Maybe it's the way I've been socialized is that I kind of like I refuse to like offer any opinions or something. All right. So let's guess. We'll start with Liam. We're gonna guess his worst or best. What do you think?
Okay. I'll try to guess. Let's start with best. Let's start with a positive here.
All right. So what I have decided that Liam's best is, I'm going with Hold Me.
I'm also going with Hold Me. That's my guess as well.
But you wrote it on the paper.
I'm guessing that his best is Hold Me. That's what I'm doing.
No, but you had it written on the paper?
Well, I'm supposed to write mine on here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I fucked that up. Okay.
Sorry, you still add it?
Yeah. I'm guessing it's Hold Me.
Okay.
And what is the result?
It's actually Perfect Situation.
Oh.
Okay.
I had it as one of the circle here, but yes, it wasn't the one.
Yeah, it's not a song I can champion all the way through, but I can't champion any of these songs all the way through.
It's difficult.
But it's just the solos go a long way. I like all the melodies. I didn't talk about the chorus, but I do think that if it's the only chorus that is just whoa-ohing on the album.
Yeah.
And I think the melody is pleasing enough that it kind of, in context, sounds like it fits the desperation of the song. And I think the lyrics are I respect that they seem to be a bit self-aware to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. No, I got no beef, man.
Yeah.
It feels like you're kind of like defending it, like.
I just wanted to give some thoughts on it. Yeah. And the solos are sick. I think the solos.
Yeah, I love like the. I think it takes a lot of courage to like open a song with like a trailing solo that doesn't repeat itself, and I swear to God, "Oh Baby" is in that guitar solo. I'll send it to you guys later. Nah, nah, nah. Anyway, I swear to God, it's there. It's like a trail of the Green album.
And you will know us by the trail of the Green.
Do you have your things written down?
I don't have any more paper. I fucked this up.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right. Wait, I got an idea.
Help me, Kevin. You're my only hope.
Because so what happened? So my grandmother, she had to move out of her house and go to a home, and she gave me like this giant stack of like legal paper.
Okay.
But I have like a printer that doesn't print that. So anyway, here's some paper for it.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, so I guess I'll go next.
We're gonna guess Liam's worst, or are we gonna guess everybody's best?
Let's do everyone's best.
Yeah. So
Okay.
guess my best.
I'm just looking at a track list here.
I'm ready to guess Kevin's best.
You go ahead, Sandy. I'll try to.
So this is tough. It's really really hard for me to figure out.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man.
So I think that
It's hard to have a memory about this, even too. Man.
you really like Perfect Situation. That much is clear. But I think I heard you say that you didn't think it was the best one on the album. I can't remember. And you also had some complaints about it. The only song that I didn't really hear you complaining about,
Yeah.
I feel, was Damage in Your Heart.
Okay.
you, as I said, you liked the Perfect Situation solos and the lead guitar work, but I felt, yeah, the only one that I didn't hear you say anything rough about was Damage in Your Heart, and that has led me to some good conclusions in the past by going like, what has Kevin not
shit talked,
as opposed to what has he championed. So I'm gonna lock in Damage in Your Heart.
Liam, what do you think?
My mind initially went to the same place, but then I recalled that you say the first half of the chorus of Damage in Your Heart, you're not all the way in on. It's the second half that gets you. And so I'm wondering if that first half is enough to bring it down. Though there's no way your favorite album on this song is to you a perfect song. So realistically, you should have criticized every song.
Okay.
Regardless of if it's your favorite. So with that in mind, I think I am also going to guess that your favorite is the Damage.
And the only difference is that I put Damage to Your Heart and I had to fix it. Yes. Okay, wait. Nice, so we got points there. Okay, wait. Okay, so the first round. What was the? Sorry, I wasn't keeping score of the first round.
I did not guess Liam's correctly. I guessed Hold Me, and it was Perfect Situation.
Yeah, I guess Hold Me too. Mm-hmm. So we got no points.
So
okay.
I got no points there. Liam, okay. So Liam should have.
Liam and Sandy both have 1 point.
Yeah.
Right
Okay. Got. Yeah.
Okay. I got 0 points because okay.
Yep.
All right. So now your favorite. I am gonna pick Hold Me. Just because you spoke very positively about it, but I could be totally off. Just like based on my notes and what you've said about it, it's an imperfect song, as all these songs are. Yeah. But
it's an imperfect situation.
Exactly. That's my guess.
Okay.
You did talk positively about Hold Me, but I didn't get I got the impression as we were talking about it that your favorite was yet to come. And so I was waiting for that moment where it was like, oh, now we're at Sandy's favorite. And even when we got to Freak Me Out, it still felt like you weren't there. And so I thought for sure it was going to be Haunt You Every Day. And then it felt like we still weren't there. And I was like, damn, Sandy really isn't kidding about not liking this album.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think I'm going to go with just what felt most right to me. And I'm gonna guess Freak Me Out.
That was my second guess right now. Okay, all right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh man! Nice. Yeah. Was that an easy decision?
Yeah. I knew that one when I was in the group chat. I wrote that it was actually really easy to rank these. Mm-hmm. By the time I'd listened to them maybe twice each, Red and Make Believe, I knew with a pretty high degree of certainty what my rankings was going to be. Whereas the previous 4 albums that we've done were a little more laborious for me. I had to really think about it and work at it. This one, as I was listening to them, I sort of arranged. I was able to kind of do it in my head.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm very pro that song too myself, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll read off the full rankings after.
I'm excited for that.
All right, so Liam, I'm going to guess your most hated song is "We're All on Drugs." Mm-hmm. That's my feeling.
I'm also going to guess it's "We Are All on Drugs," just because I said the first thing I said when talking about this was, "This is a horrendous song," and the first thing you said when you started talking was, I'm paraphrasing you lightly, I agree with Sandy. so I'm locking in "We Are All on Drugs" for that reason.
Okay. I was so bold as to write down my guess as well. We are all haters of "We Are All on Drugs." Not only is it my least favorite, but I'll say right now my guess is that it's each of your least favorites. Well.
Did you get bonus points for saying that?
No, but it'll be my guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna just.
Well, you're giving it away now, but yes.
Now, yeah, I'm doing it now.
You get a gimme point.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, I actually circled. In my regular notes, I had Liam with a downvote, and then I had Sandy with three downvotes.
Okay.
So I mean, I wasn't. Anyway, wait. So
We're gonna guess your least favorite, and I was gonna say We Are All on Drugs. That was gonna be my guess because I actually had it circled.
Yeah, I don't know how you could listen to this conversation we just had and guess that mine would be anything other than We Are All on Drugs.
And so Liam, you guessed it as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so I'm in the lead right now. Well, for this one thing.
I gotta guess your worst. You gotta guess your worst one.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, oh wait, shit.
My guess is locked in.
My guess is that it's also We Are All on Drugs.
Wait, I couldn't. I swear to God, I already did this already, didn't I?
I don't think so.
You held it up as you guessed it as my least favorite.
Oh, that's why. Shit. Okay. Fuck. It was so confusing because we all hate this
We're all
song.
on drugs.
Okay. All right. So we all get 3 points for this.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, cool.
Yeah. What a fucking awful album.
Yeah, so what are you able to give like a number ranking or like some way to quantify how bad this is when you say an awful album in relation to just other albums that exist?
Yeah, okay. If the Blue Album's a 10, right? If Nevermind is a 10, right? I would say that this is a 3.5. That's what I give it.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling too. I think I would give it like a 3.
Uh-huh. I think that's 1 full point for every song I enjoy on it, that I truly enjoy.
Yeah.
And then maybe a half point for the guitar solos.
That sounds like good math.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. And what's crazy is that I think this was one of their more successful albums, just in terms of its reach. Because Beverly Hills was so huge, so they had this real stinker of an album that had this one massive fucking single, and it's really interesting.
And it tricked young adults everywhere, at least for 6 months at a
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And then once I finally snapped out of it and started listening to I transitioned out of my make-believe era straight into my Beach Boys and Bob Dylan and the band and Sufjan Stevens and the Shins, and I started getting into all this really fucking cool shit. And I can remember being I truly remember listening to Make Believe around that time that I was listening to all that stuff and being just the comparison,
Right.
having just spent all this time listening to all this really significant music and then going back to this one was just holy crap.
You were a changed man.
Yeah.
So now I'm really curious when we do our Red discussion, because there's going to be a line in the sand now where you guys had turned on Make Believe. It seems like before Red came out. Kev, you said it took 3 years. Maybe it was around the time Red came out when we talked about it. But...
I mean, when I use the word 3 years, I'm just kind of giving a ballpark estimation. Yeah.
Could have been 3 years, could have been 6 months.
Yeah, it could have been.
Could have just been a really long 6 months.
I could have
to fucking haunt you every day.
That would, honestly, dude, if you listen to this album, even for 6 months straight, that would feel like 3 years. Just because this album feels much long. This album, you have to listen to it in dog years. It feels like it's times 7.
I find the whole exercise really strange though. What is it about a song that makes it bad or good? It's how can this is probably what the AI is trying to figure out right now is why do we enjoy a certain song and then another song that still has the same principles of a rhythm and a bass line and a guitar line and a vocal melody all playing intertwining with each other? What makes it good or bad? It's you just sort of feel it inside you, right?
Totally.
And I don't know, is it ever going to be quantified? I don't know.
We all have a consensus about what's the worst song on this album.
Yeah,
so there's got to be something.
So we're
right?
feeling it, but what is it about it? Because We Are All on Drugs, that opening line, I actually in some kind of projects I work on would actually write that kind of darker stuff.
Sure.
But I would never go, when you're out with your friends in your new summer station. I would never do that part, but the opening part was oh my God, this is this death metal song.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. There's like this in. I'd be amazed if they figure out like what makes a song good and bad, rather than other than like the human spirit, I guess.
Well, the ironic thing is that's what Rivers has been trying to do all these years.
Yeah, he's trying to break it down.
Yeah, he's trying to figure it out.
And I think it's to his detriment to try to. Yeah.
But I think he's gotten better at it.
Yeah.
As time has passed, in terms of trying to write stuff that just has that element of universal appeal.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like this one just has like, I don't want to repeat myself. Like I want to bring value to the people who are listening to this podcast, but it's like I don't know how this album got released like this. Like I really don't know how it went through like all these iterations. It took them forever to do it. It was like ostensibly this is the album that up until this point in their career, other than maybe their debut, this is the one that they'd worked the hardest on. So I don't understand how it wound up this way. I
think it's a matter of like the attitude of fuck it. It's like when you spend so much time working on something and like you spend years on it, and it's like not the way you want it, you're like, you gotta say like, okay, fuck it, release it, we're gonna move on to something else. Mm-hmm. And like hopefully like when you overthink things, you start getting in your own head and you're like, is this the album we want? And like you lose perspective too. Like
it could be, but also, taste is a wild thing. I don't think they'll ever come up with an AI that's able to determine if songs are good or bad, because I don't think it's something that can be quantified. I mean, we all agreed that We Are All on Drugs is the worst song in the album.
Yeah.
We also all agreed that Surf Wax America was our least favorite song.
Oh yeah,
the
cool.
worst
Yeah.
song on Blue Album. And then we heard back from some friends of ours. We asked them, what are your top 3 favorite songs on the Blue Album? And we heard some people say Surf Wax America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we're only 3 people. I've seen people online in the Weezer community who really like this album.
Yeah,
so
true.
The fact could be that they stand behind this album, and they think it's good. And it's just, art is just one of those beautiful things where that's why it's worth talking about, and talking about why you think something is a bad song or a good song, but someone else is going to feel a different way. So,
and even when I say Surf Wax America is the worst song on the album, I had our drummer Devin record drums to it. We're like working on a cover for it, so it's like, do we really hate it that badly? It's like
sorry to interrupt. I'm conscious of the fact that I just totally interrupted you. But
no, I had nothing else to say. It's okay.
You mentioned the fandom. It's been a while since I spent like a lot of time in the fandom, but Make Believe is one of those ones that there is. I feel like there is a little bit of like a Make Believe army, a little bit of one for sure. I don't know. I don't have anything more to say other than that. But it seems like there are some fans of this one.
It also can very well be that like there's a certain part of when you're growing up, there's like a certain like you can get influenced by things. So if like you're like 10 years old and you hear Make Believe, like your parents are playing it in their house, you can start like this is like a musical construction in your head about like how music should sound, and you go into the world feeling that way, like you're going to defend it.
Well, there's on Pat Finnerty's episode about Weezer, when he's talking to the guy in the cover band, that's one of the things they cover. Is I think Finnerty asked him like, how old were you when Make Believe came out? And he's like, I was like 16. And Pat's like, maybe that's it. Like I was like 16 when Pinkerton came out, and I loved it. Right?
Yeah.
Then maybe it has to do with like where you are in your life when you hear these albums that will sort of influence how you feel about them, right?
Yeah.
So you might be onto something there too.
It's true.
But I bet there's a 30-year-old who listened to the Make Believe for the first time when they were 30 and still stand by it,
Yeah, it's true.
It's too many people in the world. That sounded dark.
Too many
There's
people.
a lot of variety of opinions in the world.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a Paul McCartney song called "Too Many People."
Yeah.
So yeah, you quoted that. Yeah. Too many people. You're just shit talking John Lennon right now.
Yeah. It's a Lennon diss track.
Yeah.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah. There's the first diss track on vinyl, man.
In parentheses, there's at least one too many people.
All right, I'm gonna cut it right there.
Oh, Kevin, we gotta rank our songs.
Oh, yeah,
Oh shit! Sorry. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
We diverted for a bit there. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, number one song is "Damage to Your Heart."
In your heart.
Is it in your? Oh shit! I wrote it down so many times. I also had this issue with the greatest man that ever lived.
Yeah.
I kept saying the greatest man who ever lived.
Yeah, that's a common one.
Yeah. Okay, so number one is "Damage in Your Heart." Man, it sounds like he has like a cholesterol problem. It's like the damage in your heart. You got a blockage you need to fix. Number two is "Haunt You Every Day." Number three is "Hold Me." Number four is perfect Situation. Number five is "Freak You Out." Oh, sorry, "Freak Me Out." Number six is "The Other Way." You guys aren't going to believe this, but number seven is "Best Friend."
Okay.
Number eight is "Peace." Number nine is "This Is Such a Pity." Number 10 is "Pardon Me." 11 is "Beverly Hills." And number 12 is "We Are All on Drugs."
Okay.
Is there a line there where songs go from ones you like to dislike?
Yeah, so like I've "Damage in Your Heart," "Haunt You Every Day," "Hold Me," "Perfect Situation," I think are like top tier. And then like I like "Freak You Out" as well. Maybe I'll put those five on top. And then "The Other Way" is like meh. And then "Best Friend" is meh. And then like "Peace" starts drooping down, I guess.
Okay.
After that, it's
When
yeah.
you get to the crab songs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what it takes it down.
Yeah, that's true. Did I say that was "Peace" and "This Such a Pity" or both? Is it "Pardon Me" or
It
this?
was Pardon Me.
Yeah, okay, those two. Yeah, those are very crappy songs.
Cool.
All
I was
right.
surprised Beverly Hills was so low.
Me too.
Oh yeah, number 11, man.
Mm-hmm. Coming in at number 11.
It would if "We Are All on Drugs" wasn't there, of course, Beverly Hills would be the worst one. But yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I shouldn't even say that. It's obvious.
Interesting.
If one song didn't exist, another one would be lower.
If 11 songs didn't exist, "We're All on Drugs" is your favorite?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
What do you got, Sid?
yeah, you have like the "We're All on Drugs" single. It's like it's only one song. It's like it's my favorite song. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, sorry, Sadie.
Okay, so here we go. So number one is "Hold Me." Number two is "Damage in Your Heart." Number three for me is "Peace." Number four is "Freak Me Out." Number five, I have "Haunt You Every Day." Six, I have as "The Other Way." Seven is "Beverly Hills." 8 is "Perfect Situation," which kind of killed me because I wouldn't have guessed that. That surprised me. And I didn't want to have "Perfect Situation" that low, but I was just like, I'm not down with this story anymore. I don't like it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Beverly Hills was at least, again, sort of like it feels so different from the other songs that after you've listened to the album a few times, you're like, this is an oasis in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so where was I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Perfect Stitch.
7. Yeah, so "Perfect Situation" was 8. "This Is Such a Pity" I have in at 9.
That matches mine too. Cool.
Yeah. 10 I have "Pardon Me."
Me too. Cool.
11 I have "My Best Friend," and then 12 I have "We Are All on Drugs."
All right,
And
cool.
to answer your question, which is like, is there a point where it transitions?
Yeah. The shit line.
Yeah, the shit line for me is probably like, this is really tough. It's probably it's probably after "Perfect Situation." Like "Hold Me," I think is a good song. I would just listen to that. Sometimes I'm in the mood for that. That one, I basically, okay. Put it this way: "Hold Me" is the only song out of this entire collection that I think I would ever just randomly want to listen to. Right.
Yeah.
That I would, if I weren't sitting down to listen to Make Believe, I would probably never have the occasion to hear any of these other songs. So in a way, the shit line is after "Hold Me." But to be a little more nuanced, I would say the shit line is probably somewhere around "Beverly Hills" or "Perfect Situation." But certainly by the time I get to "This Is Such a Pity," it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
It's like.
That makes sense.
What about you?
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm just reading my list. Are
you shocked?
Since I wrote it earlier today. I am kind of shocked, to be honest. Maybe I need to do some on-the-fly editing. My 1 is Perfect Situation. I can't go back on that because that's what I locked in. But my 2, and it's not far behind. In fact, they could kind of trade places, which is cool that I have that on this album. There are 2 songs that are right up there. It is Hold Me.
Oh, cool.
So you guys were there. Then it's Damage in Your Heart. 4 is The Other Way. 5, I'll just read the list I have, but I would think twice about this. I put 5, This Is Such a Pity. Lyrics Be Damned, I do like the vibe of that song. 6, Haunt You Every Day. 7 is Beverly Hills.
Okay.
And then 8 is Freak Me Out.
Okay.
That seems weird to have it beneath those ones, so I would reconsider that as well. But then my 9 to 12 are locked
They're locked in.
I'd say 9 is Peace, 10 is Pardon Me, 11 is My Best Friend, and 12 is We Are All on Drugs.
That's cool. I mean, yeah. So we all are on drugs.
Are our bottom 3 the same?
But I found so we all have Pardon Me as 10. You guys have Beverly Hills at 7. You both have Best Friend at 11. So there's some weird coincidences that there's definitely a lot of love for oh no, I screwed this up. Sorry, Perfect Situation and Hold Me both have a lot of love, and as well as Damage to Your Heart is those 3 are really high up. But yeah, we all on drugs. Beverly Hills, Pardon Me. There's a really low ones. Best Friend is at 11. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's kind of
So I'd say my top 3 is pretty solid, and then after Damage in Your Heart, from Other Way, which is 4, down to Freak Me Out at 8. I'd say those can all kind of bop around. Other Way, This Is Such a Pity, Haunt You, Beverly Hills, Freak Me Out. That's a grouping, and then Peace. I could put Peace in the mid tier as well, and then Pardon Me to We Are All on Drugs. That's S tier, and in this case, S stands for shit tier.